What's up, everyone? Make sure you check out the WESWES Network website at westwestnet.com. Here you can find amazing independent podcasts based in Aotearoa, covering everything from pop culture to mental health. Also, if you enjoy our content and want to support us, please consider clicking on the support button on the homepage of the website. We appreciate your patronage and look forward to delivering more thought-provoking and quality conversations.
WESWES, y'all.
One, two in a row. Let's go. This is 1, 2, 1, 2 in a row titles back to back.
Oh,
So, hey Tama, are you a proud daddy?
You
You a proud daddy?
You know how we're gonna start. You start. Tensions running high. There's joy on every face. The coach runs through the game plan. You're in the finals race.
irrelevant.
The first up tackle hurts you, and tomorrow you'll be sore.
This is Camz
But
fault.
the only thing that's on your mind is you got the chance to score. Good Mighty Panthers, let's put them to the test. Good Mighty Mountain Men, we're here to beat the rest. Good Mighty Panthers, there's a chance here to be great. Good Mighty Panthers all the way, back to back.
Back to back, and I was pretty lucky to jump on your live when I saw it. I was live on Instagram.
Oh,
The moment when they won the game,
I
but
mean, the people spoke. They just said, "Are you gonna get it live again?" Because the first of the back-to-back championships they won, we were still in level 3, or I think level 4 here in Aotearoa. So had to celebrate it at home. Went live, and then they won again. And the people said, "Are you gonna go live again?" I said, "Yeah, goddamn right, I'm going live." That's back-to-back, G. You know what? Never been done in HD. People talk about, St. George won 10 in a row, but all due respect, that wasn't even recorded on camera, But still great clubs. But have they ever won all 4 grades? I don't know. Only one club done that.
I'm glad you're here because I want to get your take on what's been going on in the media over there. Like, I think NRL 360 came on and Paul Kent, he had a lot of things to say about the team and the way they were celebrating and all of that.
People say tall poppy or whatever, but I think what you're really looking at is that if you saw any of the NBA championships or the NFL, how they won, they were celebrating just how the Panthers celebrating now, But the thing is, like, these guys that are coming up now, they grew up with a greater awareness of, like, American sports and how they celebrate there. And so they kind of just got like an American kind of style to celebrating, But it's the day and age that we're in. People are like, they're not going to, back in the days, what did they used to do? Just, get on the piss and dress up funny. But that's like a real old Aussie way. I think they just got to kind of like get with the times. But Paul Kent, I think he's got his own agenda. Like, he had his own, even going back to some of his things with the Samoa. Oh, what do I know? I'm not an expert like him, but I'm just saying, like, if we're sitting here, couch quarterbacking it, his take is like, there's an agenda there. Well, what it is, though, is it's clicks, and that's the currency that these guys are going for, is just trying to get the clicks. And if you look at all their engagement on social media or all their posts, which ones get the most engagement? Which ones get the most people coming in to say, pen ref, or the ref is cheating? All the ones where they bag the Panthers, like, So it's what they're doing, but it's terrible, obviously, I reckon.
I think you're right, because all that stuff Paul Kent was saying, he's just doing his job.
Yeah.
And if you're a Fox TV and you needed to get engagement, and like you said, it's all about the likes and all that, Because the way I see it, with every one of those Panthers supporters, every one of Penrith Panthers supporters, they had no problem with what the team did to celebrate. And if Paul Kent wants to bring it up and call them, what do you call them, rat bags or something, rat mugs or something like that, rat mugs. I know all it does is just get everybody else that's watching NRL just fired up, and then they'll just end up watching, because the other thing of what it does is that if what it does makes Penrith into this bad boy team, into the villain, I mean, you're gonna get the whole of Australia hating this team. They're gonna be watching every game they play because they want the other team to beat them.
Yeah. The other thing is, Luai, he is so smart. He is really, really smart, because he's leaning into it. You know, everyone needs a bad boy, and if you look at Luai outside of the field, like, the man is like a young dad. He does all this stuff for his community. He's not. They make him out like he's a murderer or something, the way they go on about him at the thing. But he's kind of like leaned into it. He knows what he's doing. He's smarter than the rest of us. Than the rest. He's kind of like playing them as well, because he knows what he knows what he's doing, and they're leaning right into it. And you know, Fox loves it because they get the engagement as well. But you know, that's what they mean. They went back to back, all 4 grades won, like under 16, 18, the New South Wales Cup and the top side. If they have under 8s and 10s, the under 8 Panthers probably won too. So I think the under 12 Proper Toy Panthers won.
Comments.
You know, but all they can talk about is this, because they know they'll get clicks. But it's the way media is now. No one's reporting facts anymore. Like, nobody, they got millions of people to fact check, but they just, whatever gets the people going, you know? Well, what Will Ferrell said doesn't make sense, but it gets them going. Paul Kent, like, you know, he's just doing his job. I get it. You know, let the Panthers be happy, bro. They won back to back, on their way to three in a row. They should be really, if we're talking, they should be 3 in a row already, if not for Cam Smith. Because I bet you give it 10 years, salary cap. They're going to take that off him for salary cap. And then what? There's our free-peat there. Because I saw him with a new boat, you know. He's got signed one of his first contracts. Oh, I don't care. Like, why would I hate him? Who else went back-to-back in HD, you know?
You know, I laughed when they even broke down the comments made by Uppy Carousel and Fisher Harris.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Uppy was saying they did a dig to the Tigers, and they blew that up.
Yeah.
And then Fisher Harris said, "Oh, we're the greatest ever Penrith Panther team," implying, and they blew it up, implying that
he doesn't respect
better than the past Penrith team.
I mean, what he might have said was right, but you know, I think Mark Geyer came out and said, how can he judge Fisher Harris? The man is still in his playing kit from Sunday, so obviously he was 3 sheets to the wind. He's still, you know, wasted as, and you're gonna judge. If we judge everybody on what they said when they were drunk, like still going on from the day before, I don't think there would be many people left in their position. But mind you, the Panthers haven't even done anything wrong. Like, they're not out there doing lines of coke and
see, Camz, this is what I'm saying. There's a little shots. It's the uppercuts you gotta watch for.
Well, I mean, I think Aluai, he is gonna miss a few games at the start of the World Cup though, because they're gonna sanction him.
That's sad, man. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to celebrate. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
I think because he read the N-word. That's what.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
It was with an A, but if that makes it. It was him and
it's the intention.
He said my N-word. So obviously too Americanized. But you know, still let the boys play, man. They won 2 in a row. And you know, I was right here cheering every single one of them. I sat down here 2 years ago at the start of when we done one NRL Hit 'em Up podcast, and I said, DJ Tama, what do you reckon the Panthers record's gonna be? And I said they're going 28 and 0, and everyone laughed, and I was wrong because they didn't go 28-0. But you know what? They were 1-0 in the grand final, and today 2-0. So Am I right or am I right?
You know, that's on record too. That's on digital.
Yeah.
Is it a record?
You
That's-
can
I mean,
go look at.
that comment is down on record
Yeah.
digitally.
Yeah.
You can go back in the archives of.
I don't
West
think anyone's
Network
gonna flick through the history books. Oh, HD, not HD, HD finals and
And they asked me to, like, because we were doing predictions on that game, and they were like, "Oh, what do you reckon the Bulldogs and Broncos are going to be?" Because they played next. I remember, and I distinctly remember I was going, "Who gives a damn?" Nah, but they said like it's 26 missed tackles and 32 handling errors.
for the Bulldogs.
That's what it is, man. Back to back, the greatest team in modern day history, the greatest team in this decade and the last, probably. We'll see. How many? Does it stop at 3 or will it stop at 4?
It stopped.
Who knows?
That's a sabotage, Camz. That's a
Well, yeah, they like,
just a Panthers sabotage.
I mean, I predict these things. Like I said, like Mr. Mac McGregor said, I predict these things.
Okay, from the Penrith Panthers to Conor McGregor, you know there's something wrong there, bro. Not in the same category.
Hey, you know what? As long as the Usos are all good for World Cup, that's
That's the main.
When is that on? That's on next week on.
I think it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and then they all go down.
Do you guys know what time the games are? Because they're like early morning games, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
England, yeah.
Hey,
I remember the last World Cup in England was the same. They have early morning games. Yeah, so I think that's what those ones will be.
oh, like before work, like 7 a.m., 6 a.m. Oh,
Not
yeah.
too.
They're not too. Yeah, they're not too far off.
Yeah.
I think our first game's against England.
Yeah. So if you watch like the Super League, it's usually on like 7 in the morning.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
right.
8 in the morning. So it should be round about the same time. And I reckon Tor's looking good for that. Well, poor Kent wasn't too happy about.
I think there's a reason why it's poor Kent.
But no, that again, that was another chance for them to blast the story
Yeah.
and get some reaction because that Joseph Suaalii thing,
Yeah.
like he's up against a lot of good players, man. At least if he was gonna go play for Australia, he'll be on the bench at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even
Yeah.
at least he'll be on the bench definitely. Yeah.
Oh, he would have been starting. So,
Do you think?
But on the wing.
Oh,
Paul Kent's thing, what he said was that Suaalii is only playing for Samoa because he wants to play fullback and he wants to show people what he can do at fullback, which is real dumb because if you look at the reasons that he said he's coming, it's like to honor his heritage, his family, honor like Samoa. It's kind of, I think it's hard for Balangis or it's not racist, but like hard for
them to
kind
understand.
of them to understand what second generation Islanders, because like he wants a way to honor the 685, but he wasn't born in Samoa. It's like for them, I think they just want to play 685 and honor them that way because it's hard for kind of what's it called, second generation, third generation Islanders, because we're here in New Zealand and Australia, and we're just coconuts to them, to the Balangis, and then we go back to Samoa, and we're just Balangis to the Samoans. So they gotta balance out their own identity, kind of thing, and I think that's why he doesn't understand. But again,
Plus the Australians too, they're behind
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
And the whole cultural thing.
Yeah. Australia's like the way they're dealing with issues with that affect like Samoans or Islanders is kind of like they're playing out what we done 20 years ago. So you know how they have all these drillers now, and they're like, oh, look at these drill people, they're coconuts, and they're gonna kill everyone from drill music. That's just what they were going through with Scribe, and they're saying there was a young Siddle, a bad influence, but they're just going through that now. I think there's just because they're dealing with stuff later than they do in New Zealand in terms of Islanders issues and that.
But are you guys keeping up with the drill music? Because I've sort of lost track where we're up to on that. Because HP Boys was the last thing.
Yeah, well, I'm not really. I just like, because all the kids at work were kind of listening to drill music. I'm not too caught up with the happenings in the drill scene, but I think they kind of like, they blew up and then they made their money and now they just kind of making their own lane. So it's still drill, I think, but if you look at the artists coming up out of Australia now, it's more like hip hop.
It's back to old school hip hop.
Yeah, not quite boom bap, but you know, like not as much as drill per se. Because drill itself is, I'm not too sure what it is, but drill itself isn't it was like a Chicago offshoot of like a, but they would just rap about real like violent stuff only because that's what they had seen.
South Chicago, I heard it's real bad.
Yeah.
It's like,
But then the ones that inspired 1-4 was kind of more the UK. So then they would talk about stabbing people with shanks and that. But that's because they didn't have guns and stuff. But that's just them rapping about what they know, as like all hip hop is really.
But I think what the drill sort of scene did was get the accent. So a lot of the Aussie rappers back then, they sort of had, you know how everyone sort of has their American sort of accent when they're rapping. I reckon the drill scene pulled out like a lot of rappers like Melbourne and all this sort of stuff. You can see them rapping now. They're rapping with their accent, like real Australian accent, which is cool as well to see. But I think, yeah, the drill scene, what Tama was saying before, was just they made it big. Now they're sort of just getting their flowers for it and just getting all the money and all the publicity of it and that.
yeah, I think you're right, because when you think of hip hop, you think of East Coast, West Coast, or American accent. Then when you think of the hip hop in England, you know, hard out accent. So instead of Australians, you know, trying to rap hip hop in a certain way, they just embrace their own accent. Yeah.
But I think that they found a real like special niche with the accent, because I remember there was a few groups that came out of New Zealand with drill around this after obviously 1-4 and that. It didn't sound right, but I think they found a special niche 1-4 and all those groups that sort of came out is because it actually sounds good with the accent and the drill as well. So you can't just chuck on any accent and then it sounds good. So I reckon they found like a real good niche in terms of that.
And they have their own slang too.
Yeah.
So the way you pull off certain words, you can only say it in that accent.
Yeah, hard up. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I think they do it in their own accent, they're like Aussie accent.
Yeah.
It works. It works for them.
Hard up.
Because I remember how if Scribe and all, Scribe, did he sound?
Nah,
did
he
sound
was
Kiwi?
American. Yeah.
Yeah, but the other guy, Dallas.
David Dallas.
David Dallas. He had out
Yeah.
New Zealand accent.
Yeah.
Hey, so
Yeah.
he didn't. Yeah, he embraced his Kiwi accent.
I prefer the rappers, like New Zealand rappers, I prefer when they rap in the Kiwi accent anyway. I reckon it sounds real good. You know? Rap what you know.
Like Triple J, Twice the T.
Triple J and Twist the T. Sorry, I barely remember. You know what? You know why I know that one? Because DJ Severe, he dropped, have you heard his podcast series?
No, I haven't.
So it's like, I don't, have you heard that like NPR podcast? So he done like a 6-part series on the history of hip hop in New Zealand.
Oh yeah.
But he was talking about Triple J and Twice the T, and like all those early days of hip hops. And he was talking. They will talk about how there's like skinheads and Christchurch and all that. It's a real interesting listen. It's on the Rover. It's on the Rover app. That's the only place I downloaded it just to listen to that podcast series. But I don't know when the new season of it's coming out, because they've only just got up to like the 90s kind of thing. And then when they get to Shefu and that will be their next for those guys.
Because wasn't there a video version of that New Zealand hip hop like history?
I'm not sure.
They had different episodes with different artists.
Oh yeah, I think that was it's Anthem. It's a TV series they had. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
I think this one is specifically because he
Podcast.
tells it's a specific podcast series. I have to look up the link, but yeah, it's a mean listen. If you ever get the chance to listen to it, I have to find out. I don't really know what it's called.
Have you been listening to any podcasts?
Yeah. I listen to a lot of like the social media, like influencer ones from over in Australia and that. YKTR, all those sort of ones that do like footy analysis and stuff like that. But it's like the reason I like them is they're not sort of too analytical where they're like breaking down every single play. They sort of like talk about the culture, talk about, you know, the teams and what's going on. And so sort of like listen to that. Listen to a lot of like fashion ones as well, just to sort of keep updated in terms of what's trendy and stuff like that. More so, I always find like I try to listen to the ones locally, just because I feel like I can relate to it better, rather than listening to like American, UK, all those ones, those sort of outside influences. So when I do listen, I try to listen to the ones in a more local way, especially the 135, back in the 135, shout out, WESWES Network.
The AG. The AG WESWES.
Hard.
It's the AG, really, Auckland podcast.
Hard.
Before every man and his dog started making a podcast. I like, we had predicted this on earlier episodes, like I said, the market will become saturated, I reckon,
yeah.
because this form of media is the future, really. People just talking about what they want to talk about, the new media, you know, stuff that you want to hear about from people you want to hear about, or even like people you wouldn't have heard from before. So
yeah, that is true.
The new media. Did you hear that from Draymond Green?
Draymond, the new media, which is true though.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait. Like, you know, those YKTR and all those, like, that's the real new media. I really like Bloke in a Bar, Dylan Kemp. Have you heard him? He's been ahead of the curve on like all of this kind of stuff, and he's the new media. That's who we want to hear the news from, you know? Not maybe some of these other guys, but you want to hear real takes from real people, not people who are paid to push.
Because that was Draymond's take, eh? Like, get real athletes to do a podcast and talk what's real with the game, instead of a journalist like Stephen A. Smith.
At the same time, though, he's right. He's right about it. But also, you still need journalists. You need just because
you're unhappy with something that was said.
Yeah.
Or it just gets too analytical, or they just keep talking about sports. But it's just
he's right in the sense that, like, journalists are supposed to provide an unbiased report of the facts, I think. But you need these, like, you can't just have all sports people talking about it. Like, you know, there's an argument that, you wouldn't know because you've never stepped in the ring. Well, if I was 7'2" and a black man, I'll be in the NBA as well. What's your point, bro? If I had wheels, I'll be a bike. What does that have to do with anything? You need different views, but at the same time, I think what Draymond was saying is that the views of the athlete is being more represented, and I think that's true. I would love to see the NRL players do more kind of stuff like that.
And that's why I love American sports, watching American sports, because those journalists over there, man, they just overboard, eh?
Yeah. They don't care.
No, but even with their takes, like, their takes, they'll be talking, and you watch the same game, and they'll come with this out the gate take you never even thought of, and you think, what the hell? How did he come with that? It's like mean, you know?
And the takes is like, they know what they're doing. They're pushing for views, but sometimes it's like, how far are they going, you know? Like, I like Skip. I used to watch Skip Bayless when he was on ESPN. But he's always been like that, you know? And then with the new media, I think it's good to see a opposite view kind of thing. Not being scared of the media and, like, you know, getting in some new views.
Well, it's all about point of view. And I appreciate these athletes retiring and doing their own podcasts, because now you can, you know, get their point of view because they're actually in the game, you know. And then if you love to listen to sports podcasts or sports commentary, you can get best of both worlds too. You know, you get the journalist view, then you get the athlete view as well. So the thing about about New Zealand sports and our commentary. It's like because I'm so into, because I love the American stuff. Like it's like I want New Zealand to catch up and be like them, but it's hard,
Yeah.
especially with those guys at Sky. Like,
But I think it's also like the players as well, like personalities. Like I reckon, like it's slowly coming into league where people are having their own sort of personalities. Like, you know, Cheese, yeah, all these players that are sort of outspoken and it's sort of like, oh shucks, you know, even Luai, like for example, you get, and I think that's why we're going through a transition where people are like, hey man, you're not allowed to say that, or you can't be doing that, because we're so used to just the athletes playing the 80 minutes, coming off, full credit to the boys, and yeah, sweet, thank you guys, you know, but all these guys are having different personalities on social media, on the field, off the field, during the interviews, you know, during podcasts and stuff like that. And so I reckon it's sort of like we're in the transition of getting to that place, but I don't know, there's a lot of things missing. Like, you know, you look at the Super Bowl and then you look at the NRL Grand Final, you know, it's just like, shucks, it's a massive gap, you know, in terms of eyes watching, in terms of production, in terms of performances, like, you know, and stuff like that. So I think about that too. Like I always look at the like Super Bowl, look at like even just a normal game, in a NFL match, and then you're just like, man, you really wish that could happen over here. But it's just like, what are the things missing? You know, players over there, man, they're like talking their talk, like, you know, they're not scared of what that person's gonna say or that person's gonna say. Where over here, sort of like, we'll sort of feel like, oh, we'll just you know, sort of fall back or just hide behind the boys, sort of thing. But I think that's why I like watching the NRL and watching podcasts with some of the players that come on, because you get to see their personalities sort of slowly come out. But yeah, I think there's still a massive gap.
I think it's culturally too, like
Yeah.
the society, like Australia and New Zealand, they like, you know, Izzy, like Adesanya, he talked about like tall poppy kind of thing. They don't like when you're out there. They think that, you know, you should just be humble, but like he said, what's humble? Is humble because to him, arrogance is just having a level of self-confidence that somebody else is uncomfortable with. Like when I see Adesanya, he's not arrogant. Like to me, I just see someone who's like supremely self-confident, and that's like threatening to a lot of people, because they think, you know, you should win and then you should just go, you know, you just thank God, thank the people, and then walk off. But he knows it's about putting on a show. Mm-hmm. Like it's the whole package, and that's something straight out of like the American thing. New Zealand and Australia, they don't have it as much. England, they kind of do, but they're like the way they consume, like watch sports and that is different as well. So I reckon you just see, I want to see more stars be new media savvy, or like not afraid to say what they want. And it's easy for us to say, oh, you should just say what you want. But at the end of the day, the reason they don't do that is because their bag's affected. Like, you know, if they say something wrong, they lose a lot of money. So I get it too, but it would be cool to see more athletes doing that. And I think they will, as this generation of players retire, and then they'll get into doing their own podcasts and doing their own stuff like that. I know someone who I really like is like Adi Savien. He's so smart. Like I can see that he's aware of like the way media and that's all changing. So if you follow him on social media, he's always plugging something, but he's always working it into his brand or working it into the media, his own podcasts and stuff that he's doing. And I think, like, when's the World Cup? Next year. So if his contract's up after that, imagine him running off a short ball from Nathan Cleary for the Penrith Panthers.
See,
sabotage. I'm putting this out here now. Like, I don't know if you ever hear this.
That's a fake game. Is it an outrageous
you ask imagine he would become one of the greatest athletes ever. Imagine he just signed for the Panthers, you know, 2-3 year deal.
A. Smith,
he would be amazing. I mean, he is the best athlete in world rugby. Imagine him playing for the Panthers. That's the only club that would be able to sign him, I think. I saw the All Blacks. They were all wearing Panthers jerseys. Oh my gosh! If he was wearing one, oh my gosh! Like, I'm putting it here first. What's the date? October the 4th.
Dreams are for free, guys. That's the take
I'm
on this.
putting it out there into the
Dreams.
universe. Adi Savia
Dreams are for
wins
free,
the
man.
World Cup because he said he's wanted to play league, but then they said, "Oh, so would you play with the Warriors?" And he goes, "You know what? I think I'll just focus on the next World Cup." But imagine Adi Savia playing for the Panthers. That is a sign. That is a signing. I'm just putting it on the universe. When it happens.
I don't think he had a sabbatical on his contract, so maybe he'll end his contract then
Yeah. Well, I think if
and test the waters over in Australia,
Oh.
like his mate, Piranha.
Oh yeah. See, TJ Piran. They talked about the Roosters signing him, and that
then-
would have been a good signing as well. I rate Piranha. I would have rated him at the Panthers if he had. But I'm telling you, October 4th, 2022. That's when you first heard the news of Adi Savia signing with the Panthers. And then by then, the headline on October the 5th, 2025, Adi Savia helps the Panthers to their 4th championship in a row.
And see, and
You
there
heard it here
is.
first.
And he's doing TikToks about the
Breaking news.
celebrating.
You can
on
call
TikTok.
Adi Savia daddy because he won our 4th in a row, bro.
You know, I feel you with the tall poppy syndrome in sports because remember when Rico, when he did his folding arms after each try, and then I think he got fended off or something, or they lost the Crusaders and what was his name? The Fijian guy, the Fijian.
Oh,
winger?
Severis.
Silver Reese did the same thing after they lost. But,
That's after Mbappe. Eh? Is it Mbappe?
I'm not sure. I'm not.
I think it's taken from it's a soccer celebration.
right.
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it's Mbappe. When he scores a goal, he just goes up and he's like,
But you know what? I was at the game, right? And I saw that. And I was like, yeah, that's us Blues. And then, but a lot of Kiwis like, oh, nah, you shouldn't do that. Be humble. Like, don't do that.
That's
Like, what?
That's what it comes back to. Like, you know, it's the
Yeah.
All Blacks, and it's like they want to see the tough, humble.
yeah,
Do you think it's like something where, I mean, all of us who watch sports or watch this kind of thing, you kind of live vicariously through the players. You're like, that's me, and they picture themselves as like, because he's not the people who look up to the All Blacks. They're white, like heaps of them. Like they don't see themselves as tough talking it up. They want to be humble, Richie McCaw, like, and that's their heroes don't look like that anymore. So that's kind of why they got to push back against, you know, the characters they love. But fuck, this is the way society is going, man. I think if they had podcasts in the 90s and 80s in the NBA, do you think they were having the same conversations when Michael Jordan was dunking on people? I reckon you would have seen the same thing. They were like, these black. Oh, like, you know, no, that's probably what they were saying.
Yeah.
Like, these guys, they're out of control. They're cocky. They wearing jewelry and they do this and that. But it's just the way society is going. What I see is like 5 years, 10 years, this will be like a blip. The way they treated, they'll be more like the NBA. I reckon it's like Americanizing of sports, good or bad. I think that's just the way it's headed. For me, I think it's good because I like.
Well, that Americanizing of sports, what are you talking about? Like, New Zealand is not even near going that direction.
Oh,
but
no.
what it does in America is it makes them money. Because what it does is it creates tribalism. And if you're a hard-out supporter of your team, it's not by accident. Everything structured through school, high school, or college over there, they make you loyal to the college you go for, the team you support, loyal to the point where you spend hundreds of dollars every year on the merch. And you go to the games and you pack out the stadiums and you pack out all the bars around town and all the sports bars and everyone's wearing the uniform, and you know it's that sporting atmosphere over there. But it's not done by accident. It's done on purpose so you can spend your money. Now, over in New Zealand, we rely on funds from the government,
Yeah.
and we don't nurture any sort of tribalism here for our sporting teams unless you go your own way and end up being a supporter. But it's not. See, but all the factors that go into you supporting your team. If you look at State of Origin, right? Us in New Zealand, we've got no affiliation with anything Queensland or New South Wales. But every time State of Origin comes around, we're quick to spend our money on the uniform, on the gears, buy a ticket, go over and watch. And you see the tribalism on social media with us here in New Zealand. You pick a side, Queensland or New South Wales. See, that's not done by accident. That is done through years of that build up, that wanting to be part of the team, part of everybody, that sort of culture. It's not done by accident. How come we don't have that same thing with the Blues or Super Rugby or anything else like that? You know, it's like,
I think in New Zealand, the way they've done it is because if there's tribalism, it's for the All Blacks. So everyone is geared towards, everyone feels that way about the All Blacks, you know, but not so much. There's nothing, the second level of the Super Rugby. And I think if they had it for NRL New Zealand, like if one thing is like if the Warriors had won a comp by now, or like we had some kind of, sorry Levi, like I'm not dogging on the Warriors or their supporters, but if like the Warriors had won a comp by now, that they might feel the same way. But the other thing is, the Warriors fans I know, they're like the most loyal supporters ever. Because if you're still supporting them, you are loyal.
If you have a Warriors friend, trust.
If you have one of the 50 Warriors jerseys over the last 3 years, you are loyal. And like for me, if the Warriors ever won a premiership, I will celebrate too. Like, cause I would be so happy for the Warriors. I would love to see the Warriors win a premiership in my lifetime. Or our kids' lifetimes, or even our grandkids' lifetimes.
I hope so, because I made a bet the other week that the Dolphins will win one before the Warriors.
Oh,
is that Miami Dolphins? But you know what? I hand on my heart, I didn't like, you know, everyone goes, oh, don't go for the Panthers, that's my second team. Okay, I didn't believe in second team. Second team for people who don't believe in their first team.
100%.
One team only, Panthers. But if I had a second team, it would be the Warriors. Because if we want to see the Warriors be good, then that means in the Rugby League is good. If the Warriors really wanted to be good, they should have just paid Gus whatever he wanted. Then he'll turn them into the Panthers. Because, you know, if you look at the Panthers, their recruiting starts at 14. The only people with a bigger catchment area than the Panthers is the Warriors. And this isn't about trouble, this is just about the Warriors and how they can... I don't have all the answers, but, you know, like I said, if they want to foster tribalism, I think on rugby, they need a real... They should have, like, made the NPC a bigger deal. Because that's the last time you really... Like, because NRL it does it here. It does it pretty good. A better job than rugby does, eh?
I think because of shows like NRL 360, it's the drama that they always put on their media. Like even if it's off the field drama, it's still something that will make people laugh at the other team and, you know, and make the team think, man, we can do better, and make the fans feel something, like feel negative or positive. It's
you're
doing
feeling
something. Yeah, you're having a reaction all the time.
Keep in mind, it's like Fox League, which is owned by Fox Media. So they're literally a media company. They're used to manipulating the public to feel a certain way or do a certain thing, and that's them doing their Murdoch magic, you know. So I think, yeah.
If man, can you imagine if that sort of tribalism was here in New Zealand? And I know Levy's sitting over here with a white man at the top, but imagine you talked about the tribalism towards the All Blacks. Imagine if that same level of support was to our club rugby, you know, local. Like everybody will go to Sterling Sports and buy a white man at the top, you know, and go support the local team. You know? Someone
invest the money into making games an event, or like NRL football or like rugby games and event, and then I think you'll see, like, you know, that's the place to be. And then I think they need to make it more of an experience going to a game, eh?
I think it's also the gameplay as well. Like, Union just got... This is me personally. Like, I just feel Union's got so many rules. Always a lot of, like, waiting around. You're just waiting for the, you know, penalty over here. That's another 5 minutes setting up the kick. Like, you know, and it's just, I think, people's attention spans. Like, oh, that's me personally. That's why I stopped watching Union. I only watch Union when it's like an All Blacks game or an international game. Whereas, like, NRL, man, I'll just chuck on the footy. Like, if it's a Sunday and even if it's not my team playing, I'll still watch. Like, but I just feel like I freaking the game has like changed as well. Obviously, NRL's already changed quick. Like, the game is a lot quicker now. So you'll see like, oh, people's attention spans are just like bang, bang. Oh yeah, sweet. Oh, shots already. You know, checking the time. Whereas like Union, I feel like that's the only game where you're actually checking your phone like every now and then because it's like a penalty. Oh shucks. Oh yeah, taking out 5 minutes. Oh, scrum breakdown. Like, you know, and it's just. I feel that's just, it's a bit more entertaining, like, and that's why people watch it. No one wants to watch someone set up a kick and stand there for another 5 minutes looking, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's a lot to do with the gameplay, but it's also what you guys were talking about, the tribalism as well.
I think what you find in rugby union, it's what they value more, and it's more about safety, player safety. That's why they change the rules. They change the rules to make the game safer for players, because I don't know if it's about getting more kids to play, especially in New Zealand, because I think the numbers are going down for age group rugby. Hey,
I mean, there was that Silver League deal that they're doing for the All Blacks or New Zealand rugby. I think it was, I'm not too sure, don't quote me on it, but it was like, whatever, like
I think
several million.
Yeah,
So
I think hundreds of millions.
hundreds of million, yeah. So
But
I
where
mean,
did that money go? Do they?
I don't know if
invest
it's
it
gone
straight
through or not,
Conspiracy.
but no, there was
They
actually a
invested-
Silver League
Well,
deal, yeah.
Secret Island. No.
yeah.
back? Or they
I mean, if
invest
they
it-
invest in grassroots or like from that level, man, who knows? It could be like the NFL, like, you know how they have their college, man, their college football is just as big as the NFL, you know?
I think it's bigger than NFL.
Yeah, like, that's what I mean. Like,
because plus in America it's like such it's a way bigger scope. So like some towns they don't have an NFL team; they only have a college team. So they're like a college town.
Like
And then
Montana,
some,
like
yeah,
Montana.
yeah, and then some even in Texas, high school football's bigger than college football. So if you see some of the tours of the high school football leagues, that's like better than the Blues and that's just high school. But I think it's about making it an event, like the live event. Like, what's the best live sporting event you've been to?
Origin.
But you know, see, that's tribalism. But you know, so that
It's a
thing
spectacle,
yeah,
like-
They sells itself. Like me, the best live event I've been to in my whole life is I went to the wrestling when they came
Actually,
to sorry, when they came to Auckland like a couple years ago. I went with Eyes and my brother and my nephews and nieces, and like I've been in a crowd where there's like 80,000 in the All Blacks chest, but I've never heard a crowd like a louder pop than when they brought John Cena out, like, you know. But it's just the way that the event was presented.
Yeah.
So they're like, they lead up the whole night to that crescendo. They drop the lights and you just hear the crowd. They know John Cena's coming up, but nothing's on. So the crowd's like, Cena, Cena. Then the horns hit and then John Cena runs out and the place erupts. But all that is driving merch, is driving sales, and it's all for the event. I reckon if they make events like that in New Zealand, like, they gotta make the games feel special. I
Yeah,
reckon,
true.
and then we'll drive up there and drive up. So just get John Cena to play for the.
But I think that is true though. Like, if you think about the Super Rugby, how much it's chopped and changed over the years, whereas the NRL season has, like, this is just me banking for NRL all the time, but you know, it changed from having the South African teams and then they weren't in it. Then we had the Japanese team for a little while. Then they got cut, and then it's just us now. It's just us in Australia, where I think just to go off what Tama said, is just like something to make it feel special. If something's chopping and changing all the time,
Yeah.
you know, it just feels less special. So I think, but man, I remember that when we went to the wrestling, Bro, I didn't even like John Cena. Bro, honestly, bro, when the horns hit, bro, I felt like I was a little kiddie. Like, bro, all the emotions, all the nostalgia just came out, and you're just screaming at the top of your lungs. And you're like, oh, shucks, I'm an adult. Like, it's like little kids there screaming, and you're screaming louder than the little kids, and it's just crack up. But, oh, man, yeah, that was just a crack up.
You know, I became an NFL fan just recently, maybe last 3 years. And I became a fan because I experienced a game. And it wasn't a real game. I was at a bar. I was just at a bar. I was in Hawaii. Went to a bar to have a beer and have something to eat. I didn't even know the game was about to start. And the place was empty. And next minute, the place was full with Denver Broncos uniforms. The whole bar was full. Like, everyone's buying beers watching the game while the game was on. And man, I just got sucked into that atmosphere, the environment. And man, it was so cool. Man, it was mean. And then I was like supporting the Denver Broncos of everybody. They lost it.
Yeah.
But then, and then after the game, everyone just left. I was like, what just happened? It was like a tornado came and
Just took you around.
a tornado came and, you know, spent all their money and watched the game and everyone.
Imagine
You know?
that though. Like, if you could get what that would be mean in
Yeah,
New Zealand. Like,
because when I left, I was like, man, I'm watching NFL from now on. Man, that doesn't mean like, you know, I couldn't. It got me, man. It got me.
bro, that,
But yeah.
I think the closest we had was World Cup 2011 when it was here. We guys, you were here? Nah, you weren't here. So, if you remember how it was like when they won the final and the day after, it was like everyone was on holiday. Like, everyone, like, you walk up to people in the street, yeah, high five, brother. like I was the one out there with Richie McCaw, or like I was wearing Stephen Donald's. Like the day after, I'd gone to the bakery, and some guy was wearing his All Black jersey still, and I was going, "That's his brother, yeah, man." I was like, you know, that's the closest thing I can think of.
But you're right, though. It's the event. It's the experience.
Experience,
Yeah.
And then
And you just because you remember it. Hey, you remember that experience? How happy you were. Like when John Cena came out. Now you're a fan. I bet you.
I was a fan for that first.
Bro, hold up. Like, honestly, I used to see John Cena. Like, just growing up, you see like Jeff Hardy, Undertaker, all the ones that are sort of on the outskirts. I don't really like, you know, the sort of, they always have the main guy. I've never gone for that guy. Like, that's probably why I don't like James the Disco, because James the Disco is the flipping NRL poster boy. Yeah. So that's why I feel like I don't sort of gravitate towards those players, because there was always like, oh, the spotlight, they're all this and that. But yeah, man, when John Cena came out, bro, all of a sudden I ripped my shirt like I was Hulk Hogan, and honestly, put the shirt back on.
I reckon if you ever get a chance to go to a WWE event, go to it, bro.
100%.
But the best, because I've been to a UFC here as well, and that was cool.
That was mean.
Like, the UFC was pretty mean. The guy, the New Zealander, got knocked out, or he got beaten in the first day. They were like, say who nah. So then the guy kicked him in the head. I was like, oh, but I was still cheering. Just these ones after I was trying to start UFC in the crowd. So it's all good. But what a life, man. He was so good partner. He's all right, man. You know, but I reckon WWE event, get down to one.
You know, the other factor I think that we haven't touched on is the story part of it. Is the stories. If you think of all the video footage they have over in America of everything, and they can put them all together and make a documentary, or make any 3430. Like, if you think of All Blacks, they don't have much.
Yeah.
There's not much video footage at the back, like behind the scenes.
That's what people want to see, eh? They want to see the behind the scenes.
But
they
there's
wanna
something to be said. Like, if somebody can, like, what would a New Zealand 3430 look like? Because usually they're predicated around, like, you know, scandals or some kind of mean event, like, or even like, you know, mentai title, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think we could. Even the dark ones, even the ones that are like what's his name? There's like, you know, the dark moments in sporting history.
Yeah, they need. I don't know if there's anybody. I would like to see someone go there, like go and like go to the dark places of sport. But I don't know if New Zealand and Australia are quite ready for that.
Or even
But
do an
yeah.
interview, eh?
Yeah,
I
or
don't know.
even do an interview. Like, what would they be? Just the salary cap scandals of Storm when they got their premiership rescinded or whatever.
But you have the negative ones and you have the positive ones as well.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they tried to with the Genolomu one, eh? But
True, yeah.
I think they were just hesitant to kind of drag his name through the mud if they went through all the stuff that... Because his one would be interesting. He's like the first... Like, if 30 for 30 done one on him, he would be interesting because, like, he's the first real rugby global superstar. But he kind of, like, didn't retire with a lot, you know? So they should... I would watch to see 3-part series on... They would just have one episode for each of his wives, eh? Because...
Man was winning on and off the field.
but see,
bro.
even if you could do, remember when NBA always brought out the video of the championship run, the championship, and they just showed there's a documentary of the champions whole season and show all the highlights of the games.
But see,
Like you can do like a Super Rugby one, I guess, of each champion at the end of it.
but I think that's it. It's just content, eh? Like,
Yeah, content. Just put it out
like
there.
I just feel like the content for Super Rugby is just the same. It's been the same thing over and over again, and I think that's where they're sort of lacking. Like all the stuff that you guys have said before, like I reckon that would be a good way to sort of start in terms of they wanted to get more sort of audience or get sort of pull from social media and stuff like that. I just feel like they're going through the same channel, and it's just sort of like not working anymore. Whereas social media and all that sort of stuff, TikTok and all that, like people bag TikTok and people bag all that sort of stuff, but I'm like, man, that's where the eyes are. I was like, man, I was buzzing out this live video. I was like looking at this guy like, what was he doing? Oh, he was like flinging around a pizza base. There was like 3,000 people watching the live. And I was like, what the heck? Like, you know what I mean? Like 3,000 people are on their phones watching a guy fling around pizza bases. Like, and then for me, I'm just like, man, people that are bagging TikTok, but I'm like, man, that's where all the eyes are. If you want, you know, product or anything, whatever you want to do if you're a content creator, TikTok's the way to go. Like, so that's why I cracked up here. I was like, looky. So then I was watching for another 5 minutes, watching a guy fling around pizza bases, doing tricks around his legs, and so I doing around his neck. I was like, did I have to snap out? I was like, bro, what am I watching?
You know, the other one I saw was there's a guy or this dude, and he has on his screen, it's just numbers. It's like a counter, and he's going, I'm gonna click the mouse. I think it was like 100 million times, and he was on like 900 or like 909. Or he's on like 1 million times, and he was on 990 something thousand. But then if you give me this, I will take away 50 clicks. Because you can give like money on there. And like if you give the rose, he'll take away 1 click. Or if you give like a universe, it's 1 click. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to gift the universe and see. So like I went to click on how much it was. It was like 300,000 coins. And I'm like, oh, that must be like what, $20. So it was like $300, $600. And the thing is, people were gifting them to him. But it was the engagement on the thing. Because he had like, I was like, what kind of idiots are watching this? And I was like, oh, me and 25,000 other people. I think the sports team whose social media does the best is the Warriors and the Blues.
Oh, the Blues, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man, the Blues Instagram and socials are the funniest. Or like they seem to be the most aware of like, you know.
Were you saying it was run by Johnny A?
Yeah, I'd heard somebody.
Johnny Tovasashek?
I don't know.
Oh, is he
Like
the,
that's, yeah, I think that's what we heard. And it made sense.
He was the Warriors last year.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And then it made sense because you look at the post and it's so relevant to what's happening today. Like you'll see like anime, like references to anime, references to caption and all that sort of stuff. And you're just cracking up, but you're like, oh shucks, like you know.
Yeah. And if you watch enough of his videos, you
Sort
put two and
of
two
get
together. Eh?
the captions. You'll so crack up, dude, bro.
I was wondering who was doing that.
Because they have some, the Blues rugby meet, the Blues social media. Oh
so
man, they're the best, straight up. Even engaging with the fans, because I've left some comments on there, and they almost always, like if you got a cool comment, they'll always
Reply to it.
reply back. Yeah,
I like it cracks me up when they reply to the spam account ones. Like, give me 3,000, then it'll be like they'll reply back to something funny, like real quick and witty. But I'm just like, Suddenly.
Social media, bro.
Hard.
You need to get a TikTok. You need to do one for your socks, man. The click 50 minutes
Hard up.
and I'll eat my socks.
Slowly.
Yeah, well, let's talk about your socks. Your socks now. So you've got a brand, a sock brand out there for people to buy. It's called Holy Feet.
Yo.
Holy Feet.
Holy Feet, man.
I've seen the ad on your Instagram. It's pretty cool. The one that flicks the images.
Oh, yeah.
Got the girl and that guy.
Real, yeah.
How'd you make that ad?
Oh, no. So, it was from a photo shoot. Bro, I do, like, most of the things you see on the feed, I just do it from my phone. So, I'm ultra, like, I'm like, easy content's good content. Hey, so if I could do it on my phone, I'm like, oh, yeah, sweet. So, that was taken from our photo shoot. We did a photo shoot last year, probably this time last year, for our first drop, which was the logo sock. So it was pretty much just a logo printed all over the sock. And then we did a photo shoot in about October around then. And then we just took, so what I did was I saw a similar thing with someone from Australia. They sort of did like, it was sort of like that, but then I was just like, oh, what happens if I just change the music slower, but slower. And then, so I pretty much just did that, got this app, Video Leap, and then I pretty much just spread it all out, chucked a song I like on top of it, and then just did it like that.
So did you actually hire those actors?
Yeah, so they're models, so, shout out to the models that came through, because, man, like, gearing up for the launch, like, bro, a lot of, the people that know me, it's been like a 4-year process to actually come to the manifestation of it. So I got the idea of this probably 2017, 2018, and I just launched December last year. So you can understand sort of the thought process or the thought pattern of it launching. And so just gearing up for the launch, like I was like hard out, like reading like articles, listening to podcasts just about how to do business and stuff like that. Especially clothing ones, just because that's the niche and you want to sort of find out, oh, that's how you do this, that's how you do that. And so what I did with the models, I literally just, people, like there's a guy, Gary V, he's an entrepreneur. He like says, just DM people. So I DM like 10 people, hey, would you be keen to model these socks for this day? If you're free, cool. And then I always try to avoid like the people that are under management or under sort of agencies and stuff like that, because you have to pay like, so you have to pay them like 2,000 and up for like a photo shoot. I was like, I don't have that kind of bank, you know. And so, yeah, I pretty much just did like 10 people, and out of those 10 people, 2 got back. And I was like, oh.
Was these people you know?
No, I didn't even know them. So I just searched up pretty much like mutuals. So I follow this brand that's in Sydney. I literally went to their photo shoot and I messaged their models.
Right.
I was like, hey, would you guys be keen to models? Bro, like, just because might as well use social media. And then they said, yeah, keen as, just let us know what day and sort of that. And then hired a photographer. Busey, and then pretty much went from there to the photo shoot.
Using your initiative is something that people probably don't realize first, you know.
Yeah.
And you've just went ahead and
I think that's it. Like I think that like it's the holding back. Like we overcomplicate like a lot of things that we want to do. Like for example, like a podcast, or like we have to get mics, we have to get this, we have to get that. You just overcomplicate, whereas if you just know someone or just hire a studio, you can just start the podcast on the day, like rather than just delaying the process. But yeah, like that's the number one thing. Like I just DM people, hey, would you guys be keen for a photo shoot? And then I just did the, fast time movies and just bring food on the day. Like I was like, hey, I don't have like money to give, but we'll have it like lunch, we'll have a feed. And then they're like, but for them, like you could see, like it sort of like took them by surprise, because they're probably used to just doing photo shoots and then getting out. But I purposely like got food afterwards, and then we all just shared like meals, and I'd talk to them, like be like, hey, what do you guys do for for 9 to 5 or whatever, and so it was pretty good.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's good that you got like because it was like, what kind of, it was a Balingi chicken, and like
So like it just happened, like it sort of just felt like that. But man, they're super cool. And it was crack up, like the thing Sydney sort of reminded me of was like Auckland, like everyone knows everyone. So when I got them all separate, they really knew each other. So the photographer knew the model, and they're like, "Hey, how did you?" They're like, "Oh no, Julia just messaged you." I was like, I'm just sitting there like a guru, like that's right, bro. I just got you guys all like separate, you know. But it's cool, like everyone sort of knows everyone over there in the creative space. And then I pretty much, cause I wanted to do originally the photo shoot was supposed to be at a tennis court. I wanted to be out there and try and do it at a tennis court, and then voila, but it was raining on the day. And then I was like freaking out there. I was just like, oh shucks, I don't know what to do. And then one of the photographers like, oh, we got a studio like local. You just pay like $200 for 2 hours. And I was like, oh, yo, keen. So I hit up the dude. I was like, hey, can I hire the space for this, and this? And then pretty much all straightforward from there. You know.
Were you always gonna do socks, or was it you just wanted to do something like a clothing?
Yeah.
When you originally had the idea of starting the business.
Yeah. I think it was always socks. Like for those that know me, I've always loved colourful socks from the get. Like as long as I can remember, like Tama wears colourful socks. Like there's a lot of people that I hang out with that wear colourful socks. But one of the brothers, Mikey, bro, he got me into socks. Like I remember just watching, and I was like, shucks, like you know, colourful socks. Like a lot of people think, oh, it's just socks. Like how can you even? Sometimes you can't even see them. But as for me, it's always the little touches or the small sort of details that get people's attention. Like you know, you'll look at someone on the train, they might wear all black, but then if you see like he's wearing like green avocado socks, you'll be like, hey, this guy is like, what's this guy up to? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think for me, it's like small details, but it's always been socks. I've always loved socks, anything to do with footwear and sneakers and even socks as well. I've been a big fan of it. And I think for me, the reason why I wanted to do, like a lot of people go, oh man, why don't you go into beanies, t-shirts, hoodies and all that like everyone else is doing? I'm like, man, it's already saturated. Like a lot of I can think of 5 brands off the top of my head that do hoodies and t-shirts. So for me, it was more of like just pushing a brand like, man, why socks? Like people are like, man, why not just wear white socks or black socks? I'm like, nah, like, you know, sort of taking on that sort of journey. But yeah, it's always been socks, bro.
You know, with the colourful sock market, who's the big guns out there?
Oh, the big guns will probably be Happy Socks. So they're based out in Germany, I think, but they do mass production, bro. They're like the already like full on HQ, all that sort of stuff. Another one is Stance in the States. So they do a lot of the NBA. So the NBA socks, those are Stance. And they do all the sort of, they're the ones that are more of the athletic sort of stretchy ones. Whereas Happy Socks is pretty much just all cotton and stuff like that. But they're probably the 2 biggest ones off the top of my head I can think about.
Is there a local?
Yeah, local. So there's Hop Socks, and there's that island one. I can't remember the name of it though, because Talise did a collab with the chick, and they do like island prints on it, which is cool. But yeah, I can't think of any other ones that are around the area.
If you were to branch out from Holy Feet, like just from socks, what would you think would be the next, like, because this idea, if you ever decide to branch out, it would probably be like underwears, like men's. Nah, like honestly, like you know, what do you get? Socks?
I don't know if I'd call it holy undies,
but, holy drawers or something like that.
Yeah.
Because like you know, every Christmas everyone gets socks and undies and the Lynx Africa pack. Like that's the Christmas starter pack. Because some guys, they still got the XQFS underwears from
if you know.
Some of them still got the Calvin Klein with the G from the Chinese shops. Calvin Klein, like, and then you know, then those ones here, the other ones, they didn't even wear. But would you go? If you were to branch out? How do you reckon that would be another?
Yeah, that's something to look into. I've always sort of not blocked any avenues. Like I've not just been like, nah, it's just gonna be socks all the way. But I think my next, we're already in the talks of like designing it, but probably gonna be a shoe. So it's either gonna be, well, sort of talking about it. Yeah, it's probably gonna be a custom shoe. I think just to go hand in hand with the socks, but that is something to look like. I've definitely looked into in terms of like undergarments and stuff like that. Because he is right, like it does go hand in hand. If you think about it, when the first things you put on is, you know, bit of your undies and your socks, and then you chuck on the rest of the fit. But Yeah, holy bras.
It's
For- I love how we're talking then, and my mate just wanted to go.
Holy bras, come on.
And that can be unisex as well for women and men.
come on,
It's up to
Kev.
you. It's up to you.
Holy bras.
We don't discriminate, bro. Sorry about my mate. He
Hey,
just.
no, it's just more avenues for you.
Jen, holy.
Holy bras. Solidly. Stop it right there.
How many holes in the bra?
Oh, no.
Solid.
But because there'll be it'll be fun to design a sock, because a sock is those undergarments that could be seen a little bit or not, or can be seen in full, the top, if you're wearing shorts, or if you're wearing those jeans with
Chinos,
the upper.
Yeah, or
They don't go
tapered
down
pants.
over
Yeah,
the shoes anymore.
Yeah,
eh?
yeah.
That's the style. I see.
That's how I sort of. That's how I sort of wear pants as well. Like I like
Yeah.
to wear tapered pants where you can just see the socks for that specific reason too. Like I don't want to wear mean ass socks and then you're wearing like baggy ass jeans and kicks with it and you can't really see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you are right. That is the direction in terms of like fashion and how it's going. I think a lot of it now is like a lot of people wearing Crocs, which is like to our advantage as well, because when you wear Crocs, you can see socks as well. And so, yeah, we sort of just try and stay within the trend. And honestly, I reckon like funky socks, it's one of those things like you can't, I don't think it'll ever go out. Like, yeah, it might be like the big prints might go out, but in terms of like wearing yellow socks with like a fit of black and white and stuff like that, but yeah.
Even wearing slides, because
Yeah.
there's going to be some of the socks that are going to be exposed of certain shoes you wear. Like you could like, because when you're designing, putting a logo on the sock, have a color in the logo, like, yeah, you think about what's exposed there,
Yeah.
or what kind of shoe you're gonna wear. Like you could have, you know how you have those Thai boxing shorts with the the name on the front.
Yeah.
Like maybe you could have a name at the toe part,
Yeah.
and it's exposed or something. Like that.
I
I don't know.
think
Well, you could get into a real like niche market of socks, eh?
Yeah.
Like, you know, imagine if you design socks for these goingers who wear ear lava and then they have their church shoes underneath.
Yeah.
Like, you know, or like even if you had
A lot of socks.
a
Yeah.
lot of socks.
I
See,
don't.
right?
No, yeah, I don't.
These are just
Thank
these
you,
are
thank
free
you guys.
ideas.
Thank you for giving me.
But like
free
you said, Crocs and socks. Crocs is like I avid wear of Crocs. You have to wear socks with your Crocs, bro.
Yeah.
Free
Can't be,
bagging with Crocs is
Well done.
disgusting.
But even on the Crocs, like there's holes, right, all over the shoe, right?
Yep.
And you could like have different colors in your socks, so it shows up through the holes, like
Yeah.
different.
Hold on. And so, like, just going back to what you're saying about the design process, man, there's like a lot of people are like, man, why don't you chuck more colors on? I'm like, man, there's so many restrictions people don't realize in terms of designing it. Like, in terms of like only allowing a certain amount of colors on a sock. Yeah. So that's why for this one, without any restrictions, I just wanted to go basic just to have that logo on it.
Is that because you need the original? You need the base cotton color, eh? And
Yeah.
then to add that's different paint or
Only
pigments,
because
eh?
like a lot of people they do the other socks, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, like the spandex, sort of the stretchy ones where they can print full pictures on it, but I didn't want like sort of the stretchy socks because I don't like how they feel and stuff like that. They're a bit more silky and stuff like that, but I wanted the cotton, but on the cotton you can only allow like with this certain supplier that I was with, you could only do like I think three colors. I was like, bro, like that's pretty much like, I was like, man, I want to do so many colors, but I was just, oh yeah, just go with the black and white for now. Yeah.
Do you have do you have any like future socks that coming out?
Yeah. Oh, so we're in talks of a collaboration next year. So with I can't name the group just in case build ups now. But I got talks with that'll probably be our next sock. Will be a collab with a group in Australia. Yeah. So hopefully that goes all to plan. And we've been talking, and it's pretty like it's crazy because I always start telling like they followed the Instagram page, and I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh, shucks!" Like had my fangirl moment because I listen to them all the time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I pretty much like similar thing what I did with the models. I sort of just DM'd them like, "Hey, would you guys be keen?" Like, and then they're like, "Bro, say less." Like that'll be us. And I was like, "Oh, shucks!" They messaged me back. And and sort of went through that, and they follow the page, and then now we're like sort of talking back and forth, and so that'll probably be the next one. Will be with the collab if it all goes well.
You don't have to say they are, but are they a big company, are they?
Yeah, they're on the right, like they're on the come up, like especially on the sort of New Zealand Australia scene. They're on the come up. So the ones they actually hang out with, they're like 1-4. They're all those sort of group of boys. So fingers crossed that does come through. I did tell her like I would be keen just to fly over, just to go through the design process, because with me I'm like real down to the detail. Like I like doing down to colors, down to symbols and all that sort of stuff. So that'll probably be the next one. But there's other stuff that we want to do as well.
I reckon if you did like really, really limited edition ones, they would sell. Like if you could only do like 10, how much would you sell it for? Like,
yeah, see, like with socks,
or do you have to make a certain amount to make back the money?
Yeah, because like say with the last drop, that's why we kept it unlimited to 50, because I wanted to have that sort of exclusive. But also, man, like the limited, the minimum sort of order quantity was 70. So I was just like, man, it's 70 and up. So people like normally order for like companies like 500, 600. I'm like, bro, I didn't have that much like space in my room for that kind of inventory. But that's something I always wanted to have Holy Feet based on, was that was going to be exclusive, and I wanted to be at the same time sort of like everyone can sort of get it. But yeah, that is something that we've looked into. Like there's other stuff that we've looked into as well. Like I wanted to do like NRL socks and stuff like that. Just need to make sure all the trademarks and stuff like that before NRL was knocking on my door and sued. But like even State of Origin, like I wanted to do New South Wales. I wanted to do that this year, but just didn't work out. But New South Wales and Queensland socks, and I think like with the niche that we were talking about before, everyone's hard out New South Wales, everyone's hard out Queensland. People would buy like $30 socks for that, you know what I mean? And so that's how I feel like that's something we can definitely look into next year, going forward.
Because you can play on that superstition thing, eh? Someone has their lucky socks.
Yeah, hard out, and that's something that we always say like, man, this we did a giveaway earlier this year to a girl, and one of the girls in Brisbane won it. She put up a reel and pretty much said like, oh yeah, these socks make you lift heavier. And I was just like, bro, I was like, and I put that on Instagram. I was like, oh yeah, this just said that, socks make you lift heavier. So I was just like, just sort of right off there, like, oh, it'll make you faster. Like, I got a cousin that plays in Broncos, told him the same thing. I was like, oh, tell everyone that it makes you run faster. Like, they're sort of same thing. So it's just like, just grateful, I guess grateful just to everyone that sort of bought into, not buying the socks, but bought into the vision and bought into the brand. Like, the support means a million, but yeah.
I think what makes you different, because when I think about what people are doing now, especially around here, around Auckland and that, like with the screen printing, and people doing the screen printing stuff, and they use that company AS Color. It's a big they're pretty big, eh? And I think they're pretty big because they just deal with
blanks
and plain clothes and different colors. And
Yeah.
they sort of got into that market there to be the supplier for all these guys that are doing their screen printing stuff. But what makes you different is because you're doing socks and now you're gonna do shoes, which is not the hoodie or the t-shirt or.
But I think that's it. Like I think that's always been me though. I've always just wanted to sort of go against the grain or pick like everyone's doing A, B, C. I want to do something else. Like, you know what I mean? So I think this comes with it. But AS Color, yeah, man, they're like stuff that I've done in the past, that's been the go-to. But I think, yeah.
They supply socks as well?
I'm not too sure. Yeah.
But there's heaps of like brands or people like they just buy AS Colors and then they print something on and that's their branding.
Yeah.
It's like there's heaps of those now.
But I think, but for me, like
that's saturation.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of those.
100%.
Like there's some that are really good, like the ABCJ.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good one. I think there's some other ones out there who I just saw and I was like, so like you should have just left it on your computer.
But I think that's it. Like,
You know, I tell you, stop watching Caribbean and just leave it to the other people. Nah, I'm joking.
we're checking.
But leave it on the computers, nah.
But
Can't
I think that's it. Like, you can tell the ones that go to the local because they'll just have that. You can even see the fit of it as well. Like, there's a certain fit that AS Colour do, and it sort of all sort of looks the same, and everyone just sort of slaps their logo. They're like, oh yeah, this is one, and you know, I'm just like, dude, like you just went to, but no disrespect, respectfully, I'm not dogging anyone, but then you have different brands that you can tell they're really about their garments. Like, this is brought off this is a local one in Australia. He's run by a Māori guy that was brought up in Porirua, Wairua, effing clothing, bro. I reckon his garments, in terms of streetwear, like you have the G'd up and all that sort of stuff, but in terms of vintage garments, like he does this sort of pretty much DTG, which is direct to garment. Bro, he's unmatched there. Like the quality I've washed this. There's a lot of things that have happened to this t-shirt, but it's still in good condition. Yeah, but all that, like a lot of people like, see, so how do you get to those suppliers? How do you get the suppliers that are not AS Colour? How do you get to the people that do oversize, you know? And I'm just like, oh, like for me, I've always wanted to help people like that because I was like that. Like I always be like, man, how's everyone getting their like different like gears? How do you do this? How do you design and all sorts of stuff? So I always want to help other people that are getting to a space. Like never want to be that one guy that's sort of in the field like, nah, like so it's all puppy like, nah, this is mine, like sort of thing. It's just like, dude, like just help where you can.
Gatekeeping.
Yeah, don't be a gatekeeper, bro. I used to be like that with music. But don't be that guy, man.
Nah, everyone knows that. Sully, the mixer's playing and the thing. Sully, whose mix is this? Oh,
No, honestly, I was the number one person of songs,
I just heard it on.
But then it's like,
with your mix.
if you think about it, music's supposed to be shared. You know, music's at concerts, music on radio stations, music's everywhere. So you don't want to be that one guy that's gatekeeping that one song that's not even that good. That was me.
There was heaps of those who never share their mixes. Hello, you done this mix? Oh,
The number one guy was this guy's brother, bro. It was Uncle I's, bro. The number one.
Hired the CDs.
Yeah, we'll be at the car for we'll
yeah,
be jamming
anyway.
some music, eh? And I'm like, oh, this is a bad mix. And then I was like, oh, he's our mix. He's like, does that? He does that face, and I'm just like, bro. Then you hear the DJ 6'5". I'm like, oh yeah, now I know who's mixing it. Thank you very much. Yo.
Yeah, man. Like I was saying before, like you've gone out the gate with the types of products you want to get out there, and with shoes, that ain't no joke, man. Because that's like hard. That's a hard thing to do, man. And man, did you hear about Kanye West complaining about Adidas? Yeah. Because they did a copy of his shoe, which they own anyway.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's under. Yeah, you're right.
It's
So
under
it is-
Adidas anyway.
Yeah, I saw that. I crack up because technically he is right, but all these brands like Nike, Adidas, like they're all the same. They do actually copy like.
But how does that work? Because his what's the shoe again? Easy. Oh, Yeezys. They're Adidas shoes.
Yeah. So it was under Adidas, and then I think it became its own sort of like what happened with Nike and Jordan. So now Jordan was under Nike when he came into the shoe scene, released the Jordan 1s, Jordan 2s, all that. There was a time he was under Nike, and then it sort of just branched into just the Jordan brand.
Yeah.
So I think that's what similar happened to Yeezy. But
It's
he's right.
like Nike copying the Jordan.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sort of thing, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. I don't know if that sort of makes sense, but yeah, it's sort of like that. He's right though, Yeezys, but you know.
The other thing is he's unstable.
Yeah.
So
But you know what?
that's why people don't believe him, because he's gone a bit crazy, eh?
But I think, in all honesty, if people are saying that, bro, but I think he's really smart. He's like, everyone thinks, bro, he's a crazy dude. But I'm like, but we're talking about him. He's in our conversations. He doesn't even know. I don't think he knows New Zealand exists, and yet, well, the number one's like talking about him. But I think he's one of those like any publicity is good publicity. But then the things are sort of cringe as like when he starts posting about his kids and that, and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, oh, dude, come on. Like, some things are better left off social media.
Like he wore his the shirt says White Lives Matter. So I was like, I just saw that too.
See, but stuff like that, like,
Nah, you
And
know,
then
you know,
White Lives Matter, mate.
Yeezy doing that. Part of it is like, I get where he's coming from, but part of it too is, have you watched Genius,
yeah.
the docu on Netflix, about? Have you seen it?
About him.
Yeah. Oh, so that is a really good look at how he came up and how much his mum like really was a big part of his life. I think since his mum died, that guy he hasn't like dealt with it really, because since then he's just been crazy. He's crazy. Something's wrong with him.
Yeah.
But there's something wrong with him. But he's still freaking Kanye West, bro. He's like, he's a genius. But there's something wrong with him at the moment. But something's wrong with him.
Yeah, but the thing, man, a lot of people they tend to forget. But when the Yeezy first came out, everyone thought they were ugly as like.
Because I thought they were ugly.
Yeah, a lot of people, like, that was 99% of people thought they were ugly. Like, like people, you know, Nick Minute, everyone's wearing them. Like, you can't even go out without people wearing the Yeezy slides. I remember especially when those Yeezy slides came out, it was like, bro, they look like dinosaur feet. They look like this. And I was just like, I looked at them and I was like, bro, this guy knows what he's doing. Like, that's the thing with fashion. Like, you want to be different, but in terms of different, you want to be forward, but not too forward, or else you're not sort of relevant. But then you don't want to be too far back, because then you're just saturated.
I believe that. You know why?
Yeah.
Because I've seen those wearable art fashion.
Yeah.
I've seen those, man. And if you want to be different, damn.
Yeah.
But you know, to be like fair with Yeezy, you know how he said he everyone thought they were ugly. They are ugly, but I think it's the hype around him. So he kind of built up enough hype where people are like, I'll wear this even though I think it looks ugly, and it's become so popular now. It's cool, kind of like Crocs. Because Crocs.
But I still think, yeah.
Well, if Yeezys first came out, right, and everyone thought they were ugly, and if you bought one and wore it out, people saw you with it, you're exclusive, because they know those are Yeezys, they know Kanye West is associated with the shoes you're wearing.
Plus,
It's like a symbol, way.
Yeah.
Like a symbol.
The price tag for those Yeezys, bro.
But that's part of it too.
Yeah.
So, like, if you got Yeezys, you must be rich or you must be cool.
So you're part of that club, man.
But I think that's why a lot of people like sneakers, Like, it's like sort of feels like you're part of a community. Like, you'll be wearing, like, that's how I used to be. Like, when I used to wear J's out, people used to be like, oh, shucks, how did you get the 11s? How did you get the, Concords or whatever it is? Like, and you're just like, oh, yeah. And then but it's sort of like, it's like the if you know, you know, and it's sort of like that club, like you were saying, Camz, like, you sort of feel like you're included into something or you're brought into something. It's the same sort of thing with Yeezys. Now I'm just like, oh, sorry, they just take on can't boy.
Are you a sneakerhead, Camz?
Nah, but I'm just gonna talk about that, like the sneaker culture.
Yeah.
Those Americans have
I think
pushed out, like, people that buy sneakers and don't wear them, just put them on display at their house.
Yeah.
You know, that's a thing.
Yeah. Hard up. Like I think I got into sneakers probably like real recently, like probably 2 years. But when I stopped wearing, there was a reason I stopped wearing Jordans. The reason I stopped wearing Jordans is because when the Michael Jordan docu came out, was the
Last Dance.
The Last Dance.
Or Last Dance.
Yeah, or The Last Dance.
Dance.
when that first came out, solid, everyone and their dog was wearing Jordans, and I was like, hey. But I already bought like 6, 8, like probably 8. I had 8 pairs to that point, bro. I moved to Australia like in 2021. My dad came to my closet and he was like, oh, sorry, hey, what size are these, son? And I was like, full well, I'm size 13 for the last 3 years, mate.
Classic dad move there, eh? Just see your size sneakers and
does the lean on the door sort of thing. It's just like, oh, solid.
Was that after episode 1 or episode 2?
It was after she picking me up from the airport.
So then he was doing free throw dunks in the backyard.
Shout out to my dad, man. And yeah, and you know what? Because I got frustrated, everyone was wearing Jordan. Like, bro, I just gave my whole, pretty much a collection to him. I was like, oh, now you can wear them. And I just started being an SHA in Sydney for a little while and just buying tees.
But you know, Nikes, Jordans, they're thin, eh? They're narrow shoes.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of people who's like, I'm sneakerhead and got all different Jordans. Sorry, but the width of your feet doesn't agree with me, eh? Like, you're size 13 length, but your feet is size 17. But like, they still squeeze their feet. And you can see the Jordans is like, struggling.
You can hear that.
You know, it's gonna fight. But you know, that's like I said, that's the price of beauty or the price of fashion. You just squeeze, like But I've seen people who are real sneakerheads. Like I heard DJ Severe's.
Yeah, he's
He's got I remember him doing a tour once, and I was like, "Fuck!" But he's a real OG. He's those ones. I think he is, because he'll like buy one. Oh, you're like buy 5, but he's not. There's buy 5 to resell. He'll buy one and then buy one to store.
Yeah.
And one to wear.
So that, like, you know, you're a real sneakerhead when you buy 2. Like if say
to wear to put on display.
To put on ice. So they put the sayings to put on ice, and that's pretty much saying dead stock. So dead stock means brand new, like never worn. So they'll buy one just to wear like out, then they'll buy one just to like sort of safe keep, and then
The price goes up if they ever decide to resell.
yeah, it's all like depending on the whatever shoe it is, whether it be a Jordan 1, Jordan 5, whatever.
And the colorway.
Colorway, especially the colorways are like a big thing. So you'll see like the UNC like collection. So I think there's a 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I think, and there might be another one. But those, man, if you have the actual whole collection of that, the UNC collection, bro, you're making some bank. And especially if they're dead stock, if they're brand new, then you're. But then you have the.
They
all the
kind
values there.
of changed. They changed the way how you buy sneakers now, eh?
Yeah.
Because before, when you used to buy them, you had to like camp out.
Yeah, long ass lines.
But now you have to get lucky in the online raffles, eh?
Yeah.
Is it? Because I see a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because it's like they'll say, "Oh, we're dropping said shoe at midnight on Thursday on their website," and then you have to be in the raffle. Like a certain amount of people have to be there, and only a handful get in online and get to buy them.
Yeah, it is. And I think the reason for that, like, because what someone's saying, that's how it used to be back in the days. People used to wait 2 days, 3 days for shoes. Just camp out, bring out their tents, have a mate with them, talk, buy food, all that sort of stuff. And people would wait outside of stores for opening just to get that one shoe.
So would that shoe be? Are they doing that because they know that colorway or that shoe won't be out anymore?
Like
So
there'll
they
be like different people. So you'll have like the OG sneakerheads that will just go to actually buy them to collect or to wear. Then you'll have the people that are sort of like flip them. So they're like the people that just go buy because they know that's gonna rise in market. So you'll probably be tripling price. So a shoe might come out retail price like $250. You could probably sell it off for like $600. And people will sit in line waiting for that. So that's why they started limiting the quantity in terms of how many you can buy. Because people used to buy like, 10 or 80-10. And then like they'll be like, oh, you know, obviously there's like no suspicion that they're going to sell them off. But now in the day and age that we're now, people only like to buy like 1, 2. Like you can only buy like 1 or 2. I'm pretty sure it's only 1. But yeah, someone's right. Like there's raffles now.
What dictates the price flux? So what makes it more?
Rare.
What makes it like? Is it rarity?
Yeah, rarity. So like another one, like what Camz was saying was like other colorway. Another one will be rarity. So it might be collab. So say if it was like Dior and Jordan collab, that's a real rare one. So those are going for like 2,500.
In the New Zealand context, if there was a one shoe that you couldn't get anywhere else but America, there was heaps of that shoe in America, but in New Zealand there's not many. Would that be expensive here in New Zealand?
Yep, that'll be rare. So like those are like, you know, DJ Severe, like all those guys, all those OGs, and they'll no doubt probably have it, and they'll always have a plug. Like they'll always have that one guy that sort of either works at Foot Locker or he works like he knows someone. There's always a guy that knows someone. And that's why I think like that's why I got into it. I think that's why I got into sneakers, because it's like one of those like, man, I had to drive to Manirewa to like meet up with a guy I don't even know if he's a real dude. Like and then like find out, he's got like collection and stuff like that, and it's just like, oh shucks. Then you make friendships there, and it's like his name's Lingus. Say shout to Lingus. Like he was my supplier for a little while.
Yeah.
He got me heaps of shoes like in good price as well. But that's it. Like it's just like the rarity. Like if you're like those that know will know like, oh shucks, oh that was just in the general sort of release, or that was like, so how did you get those? Those aren't even released in New Zealand. Like, and those are the ones you want.
So it makes sense to go to New York and just get
that's
out of it colorway and come back.
That's why everyone like sort of like goes over. They just have like boxes and boxes of shoes because they know over there will be cheaper. And then, but I don't know how it works with the conversion rate and that. But yeah,
And then resell.
Yeah. So that's our actual job, resellers. So that's why a lot of the OG sneakerheads, they hate resellers because they'll buy the shoe at $250, flip it for $500. So people are now having to pay $500 for the shoe if you didn't make that raffle. So see how it's sort of like a business, like that's how resellers, that's their business, like yeah.
It's to the sneakerheads' advantage in New Zealand because we're because New Zealand's outside. The retailers only get the colors that they know will sell. So it's always going to be white or black.
Yeah. Or they call them bricks. Like that's the ones that don't sort of...
Or navy blue. Or, and that's why you get the same colours all the time.
Yeah.
When you go buy
that's why
those like, plain clothes.
Yeah.
Either red, navy blue, black, white.
Sort of neutral colours they can sort of rock with your kicks and that.
Because if they start bringing in out of a colour, they don't know whether it's going to sell or not.
But that's what I mean. Like there's certain shoes that they got released in New Zealand. There's some that you just know, oh, sorry, this guy got it from the States or something, and some people pay that price. Like I know some of my mates, they've paid like up to $950 for like shoes, like the bread 1s, bread 4s, like all that sort of stuff.
For $950, and they got the shoes
brand new, yeah.
And what did they do with the shoes?
Exactly, but that's what I mean. Like they'll wear it.
Oh, I guess if you got the money. If you're spending $950 on shoes, we always only here for.
No, but people, but you know what I mean. Like I wouldn't. The most I've ever paid for a shoe is $450. Like, and that's nothing compared to some people. Like they'll splash it out, and it's like pretty dangerous because it's just like suddenly you're eating noodles and crackers for the rest of the week. But some people will do that, I did that a few times. I'm not judging because I did that, but it is what it is. Like some people buy it straight from America, like certain sites. But
I think the most I spent was $300, but that was on Tim's, and that's retail.
I feel like Tim's is like the only shoe that stayed the same price the whole time, and that's how you know it's like one of the OG shoes. Like when it stayed the same price, it hasn't gone down, it hasn't gone up. Like
I just bought a pair and I thought, is this $300 worth? Like, it is because they last for long. But I didn't know how comfortable I am spending $300 on a garment, and that's coming from someone who's spent $700 or $800 on his Fortnite account. But you said like you'll pay for what you like, because people will probably think, what a nerd, he's spending $800 on your Fortnite account. But in my defense, that was over several years and several $30-$40 purchases of V-Bucks. But I understand. I kind of. That's why I can when I was like $950, but I get it if that's what you're into. Then that's what. Because I try and understand like sneakerheads, like I try and understand, like I don't know. Like I was like, why do you need 500 pairs of shoes? You only got 2 feet. So like,
it's like trading cards, I think.
Yeah. So that's what it's like. So it's if it's worth something to them, I guess it's not my money, but. Like I was like I couldn't understand it, but I kind of do. Like I get it. If there's something you like, you spend your money on it.
When you keep the shoe, the shoe that you put on display at your house, does the box need to be perfect shape as well?
Depending if you wanted to sell it.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted to sell it, that man to this day that's like a new, like if the box is in good condition, sort of like downs the price, but not as much. But some people have like replacement boxes and stuff like that, but.
That's always been hip hop culture goes hand in hand with sneaker culture. I remember when I was young, like my brothers always had cool shoes like Kalava and Isaiah, I remember they had a run block over them some shoes one time. I remember. I don't remember who won. We'll just say Kalava. If you say now you're the defeat as well. But I remember, I'm pretty sure it was ever shoes. But that was the only time I seen them have like a run block and they were fighting him. I think Isaiah must have won Steve's shoes.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But I just remember because I'd never seen my older brothers fight before, and so I was like,
trusted to be the
I
one
just
time.
thought it
ever
was like
shoes.
the end of the world that they break something. But I'm pretty sure it was their shoes. If you can fact check and ask your dad later what they were fighting about. I reckon it was shoes.
No, I think it would be shoes.
It's probably shoes. But yeah, I just remember. I remember like when I was watching it, I was thinking like, you know what, in 10 years, I'll waste both of these. Shout out to you, man.
But just on that note, like I'm the same with socks. I used to be real bad with socks, so I used to go buy bulk, and I'll buy I used to get bad. I think the most I've ever spent on one pair of socks is $45.
One pair.
Yeah, one pair. Only because it was like a limit. It was like a limited one at the time. Well, it said limited. I don't know to this day if it is limited or that was just part of their marketing scheme. But yeah, $45. And I'll tell some people, they're like, "What? $45?" And I'm just like, "Oh." But for me, it's because and like what someone's saying, like if you love a certain thing, you'll just splash out. Whereas like to other people, are like, "Bro, you're just wearing shoes on it, or you're just no one will even see them." I'm like, I can see them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really up to the person, each to their own. Yeah. But yeah.
My go-to is the socks that came up.
Yeah.
10 for 5.
They slept on, man.
Black business socks, man.
Hard up. Bro, there's
13 plus, size 13 plus.
There's a guy.
There's orange and green ones there.
And this then you buy the undies with
These are
the
the
Sunday,
ice
Monday, Tuesday.
And then you're wearing a Monday on a Wednesday night.
Sorry, I work in the boys' home. I've seen some boys wearing Sunday undies on Monday, but then they're wearing the same undies Sunday undies on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Some same touch there. That came out there. You can't go wrong with the old
undies.
and the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday undies boys up there with the XQFS and the Calvin Klein. The Calvin Klein every day, right?
Yeah, Kmart socks, man.
But go back to your shoes. Don't have to reveal your secrets, but man, because you know how I said that it's hard to do. How do you even start?
Oh, so
to think about that.
Well,
are you talking about getting some poor kid in China to factory kids to make your shoes?
Well, thank you for putting on the spot like that, Cameron. Nah. So it's not gonna be so much that we're creating our own shoe. We're just gonna be customizing it. So it's pretty much, in all honesty, yeah, it'll just be a custom. So we've already mocked up a few. I'll put on the Instagram page as well. Mocked up a few designs. Even wanted to do a croc. With the croc, I wanted to sort of tie-dye it, different colors, sort of ombre of black and white, or whether or not. Because I feel like that's the look for Holy Feet at the moment. It's just the black and white. I wanted to sort of stand out, and now sort of signature print is the polka dot print. So I sort of want to just go off that and just, it's sort of when you see the Gucci, the Gucci's the red and green and black, you'll know the colors. Same sort of thing with, Prada and all those other high-end brands, as soon as you see the print, you're like, oh yeah, that's Prada, that's Gucci, that's Louis Vuitton. Everyone wearing Louis Vuitton all of a sudden in New Zealand. I was like, bro, I can't even afford 2 loaves of bread, and all of a sudden everyone's rocking flipping Gucci and Louis Vuitton bum bags, you know what I mean? But I think that's it. We just want to have the polka dot print as something signature to Holy Feet. For whatever reason, I don't know. To this day, people are like, oh, what's so special about the polka dot? I'm like, oh, I think it looks cool. And that's how I sort of go off designs, things I put up on my Instagram. I'll just be like, oh, I just like it because it looks cool. People think, oh, what's the deeper meaning? I'm just like, oh, because it looks sicky.
Is there I don't know, was there a place for a sock with a deep meaning? How would you do that?
Yeah. So we've really that's sort of the core of the brand is sort of the motto is you are what you wear, and it's sort of branched off you are what you eat. But we just wanted to sort of switch it to you are what you wear, based on the fact that it's sort of the embodiment of the garments. So we wanted to create a garment, say for example, a self-love sock. We wanted to make that to title it self-love. So when you're wearing that sock, you're feeling yourself, you're feeling cool, you're feeling. So that's what we mean in terms of you are what you wear is sort of the embodiment of the garment. So it's almost like an automatic transformation. Like, you know, when you put on fresh kicks, it's that sort of similar feeling. Like you're like, oh shucks, like I'm ready to go. Like you're ready to go out, or you're ready to see the boys. And that's what we want to do with our socks. We want to get to a point where people put on the socks. You might be feeling a bit sluggish to go to work, or you might be feeling a bit lazy. But once you put on the socks, it's like, oh yeah, it's go time, like sort of thing. So it's just the embodiment of it. And going deeper into that, we wanted to do deeper meanings in terms of like empowerment and encouragement into our garments and into our socks. So it's sort of like goes hand in hand. So that's why with the last drop we did like a poem card in terms of like, so you get the sock, 2 stickers and 1 poem card, and that poem card I wrote. So it's so like it's just little touches like that. Like I love poetry, so I wanted to
So the personal
personal touch, like just to be like, oh, that's sort of me in it. And I love poetry, and I sort of wanted to, from the get-go, that's always what I've seen Holy Feet to be about, even before I had the name. So I knew it was going to be socks and poetry intertwined. I didn't know how that was going to look, whether or not the poetry was going to be on the socks, whether it was going to be on the packaging, whether it was going to be poem cards, and it ended up being poem cards. And so, yeah, I think that's just it. Like, we've got like 3 backup designs for different sort of themes. And it's sort of themes that I want to just sort of portray through the socks that we might struggle with. Like, it might be like identity, self-love, you know, all the different themes and stuff like that. So,
What, like, is there any like creative advertising ways you would get out? You know, like a guerrilla advertising campaign out. If I had a sock company. Or like, you know what one you could do is like, you know, male strippers, like when they do private events, imagine the male strippers there and all he has left on is the Holy Feet socks. And like, you know, it just has that and his G-string. And the ladies, they're like, the last thing they see is the man in his G-string and the socks. Like, you know, that's like another imprint if you, like just an idea.
we're not encouraging being a stripper if that's each to their own part.
Right, that's all good. Like, if you can make money dancing with your sexy body and, like, you know, imagine that. Like, that's an idea. Or, I don't know. Like, you know. Or is there, like, a guerrilla marketing campaign like that? Like, one like that would work somewhere else, too. Like, imagine not just a famous person wearing your socks or, like...
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yep.
They can go viral, you know?
Yeah.
I reckon if you had a business, if it goes viral on, like, viral on TikTok, like, if that goes viral, then you can buy me a new house near Camz. If your sock, imagine that, like, your sock is the last thing they see on, like, imagine, like a hypothetical situation is a man, like a mean-ass male stripper, and he just does like an accident, and the clip goes viral, and the last thing you see are the socks. You know, it's everywhere. But I'm just saying, yeah, like, you know, it could go
the polka dots mean.
viral because, like, what's it called? Even with songs now, with music now, the executives are marketing to, like, they're trying to make tracks that will go big on TikTok because then it will blow up. Like, they make tracks specifically to go big on TikTok. Yeah. So I'm like, if you would wanted to go that way, do you think you could create like a situation like that where it would go viral?
I think that's like going back to remember those the Lift Plus ads, like stuff like that. And I think everyone remembers it not for the lift or the actual product, but the funny, like, the sort of relatable content, or like, sorry, that's like, looks like our lounge, or, you know, and just the laughs, like, and that's something I've always like thought, like, and I've thought about it too, like, in terms of how I would do socks, and I think I sort of try to do that with the photo shoot. But it is something to look at in terms of ads. But in the photo shoot, I wanted to try and manipulate socks. Like, people just think, oh, socks are just to wear as shoes. That's why I got the model to hold it as a napkin, eating sushi. Like, it's just like, just trying to think outside the box in terms of like what people see socks as. But it's something to look at as well for like ads and stuff like that as well, to like sort of do something out there, and then the last thing you'll see is like, oh, the Holy Feet sock or something like that.
Because the deep meaning thing is good, because I feel like socks get the better rap out of all the clothing items that men wear. or anybody wears. Because if you think about when you come home from work, take your clothes off, or if you want to jump in the shower, and if you got your socks on, they get treated badly, man. Because when you take it off, you just get it over there, you know. But when you're saying like when you putting the love into it, you know, but the love and socks have that sort of feeling like. I can see people like taking their socks off real carefully. Yeah. Just laying up like that. You know.
Oh, Camz, you know. Making a bit of talking about socks like that, you're getting me a bit frisky up in here, bro.
You know, you change the way people treat socks, man.
And I think that's something like that's an aim, like that's a goal of mine is to, like you get the hype around shoes, you get the hype around caps, you get like there's a community for each of those things, but I don't think like there's a like solidified community for socks, and I want to create that with Holy Feet. I want people to be like going out, be like looking out at someone that's got funky socks, like, hey, gee, you got the, you know, this and this, and well, you got that on, and I think that's it. Like just wanting to sort of, cause socks, yeah, you're right there. Like socks do get a bad rap. I used to be like the number one seller. Ever since I started Holy Feet, I don't think I've like earned like matching socks. That's like the crack up like thing before I started Holy Feet. So I used to have like the meaner socks, like always like matching and stuff like that. So as soon as I started wearing like anklet socks with long socks and then roll it down so it looks like anklet socks. Like honestly, like, you know, and it's just like that. But yeah.
2008 starter pack.
Yeah, hold on.
Do you think they'll ever make socks that are comfortable to sleep in?
Bro, that's the thing.
Bro, because that's like, I thought I was the only one. I was like, you can't sleep with socks on. I looked it up. There's like a big community. Yeah. There's a lot of people you can't.
Especially Americans, they can't.
You can't sleep with socks on. Are you your socks on? Sleep on, Camz? Have you ever thought about it?
That'd be brand new.
Oh, yeah.
Be like already.
People don't think of it because there's a lot of people who can't sleep with socks on.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, that's true. Cause
I think you get too hot.
Yeah.
I can't eat like as cold as it, bro. Be in the minuses and I still wouldn't wear socks in bed. I just can't. I feel like I'm still.
See that's a thing.
Ready to work.
Thank you, because I thought I was like
not ready to relax.
Because I've seen like other people who are sleeping with socks, and I was like, man, how do you do it?
Yeah.
There's that Kiwi guy here. I think he was a soccer player. Played for the All Whites, but he pulled out his shoe, and it was made of wool. I forgot the name of the shoe.
Oh, true.
It's a Kiwi shoe, but yeah, it's the first shoe made out of pure wool, and because we live in New Zealand, we get wool just like that. And he tried to sell it around the world, but everyone thought he was crazy because no one makes shoes out of wool. But he pulled it off. But the problem with the shoe, right? It gets wrecked easy outside.
Yeah, it would be because it's wool.
Yeah, so it's a shoe that you wear inside.
Oh, sort of like
like,
okay, that makes sense.
it's not like slippers, but it looks like a shoe. But it's like slippers that look like a shoe.
See, but even
that's actually an inside shoe is a good idea, bro. Because like I don't wear shoes inside, but if I had a cool shoe like that to wear inside, I would.
Like, imagine coming home, take your shoes off, and then put on your inside shoes and walk around the house.
I think some cultures do that.
That's cool, but I think it's just the material of wool.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to like be going to the bathroom and you got wool and then, shucks, hey, when did I paint? Hey, I don't need the wool was brown. Sorry, what brown sheep was this there got sheared off?
But his shoe took off.
Yeah, it took off.
Oh, really?
I forgot the name of it.
Does it look
still out.
Gee.
It must be like a merino. Those
merino wool.
Yeah.
Might be.
Because that's the New Zealand one. Thank you, Miss Gilly's level 3 geography at Waitaki.
No, there's
we learnt about
pass my friend.
we learnt about sheep and
fact checking.
And we learned about sheep and level 3 geography at Waitaki College. I got excellence in that.
Anyways,
All birds. That's it. All birds.
Who's the soccer player?
That's the
or
name.
football player?
All birds.
Does it look mean?
I think if he takes off it, I guess. Because I know in Japan, like I watch heaps of YouTube videos of people in Japan. When they go and they take their shoes off and wear like slippers around their house. But I guess that must be like white people slippers, white people wearing slippers around their own house. You know?
See, because we don't. Yeah. What do we? No way. Are they made of wool?
Mm.
Oh, like they're actual shoes. So like, I was
So
thinking.
even though what? Just
Oh.
is it just outside?
I was
or-
thinking.
But they got a rep for
I thought they all look
So
like.
like, I'm thinking when he said I thought that I was like picturing
the
like
bottom was
clouds.
low too.
So I didn't think it was like clouds on his feet.
I thought it was gonna look like Piccolo shoes and Dragon Ball Z, or look like Lord of the Rings shoes or something.
So, but they actually look like
the actual
proper
like
shoes.
sneakers.
Yeah.
yeah. But I heard they don't do well. They don't last long.
I seen homeless people. They said that's one of the things that they need most are socks.
Very, yeah.
Like they should make
No.
a sock that works for homeless people.
I think-
sock ideas.
But it was funny.
brainstorm.
Someone just brought that up because I was talking to this guy about it last night. We wanted to do a project under Holy Feet, for like the less fortunate, like, especially during the nights. Like someone was saying, like sometimes we drive, bro. Even through Henderson, and I'll drive and see people out, bro. It's cold as and no socks, no shoes, and I'm just like, dude, I'm freezing and I'm in the car, like. And so that's when I thought of like, bro. I just thought of it at home. I was like, man, I want to do a project for like homeless people, people that are less fortunate, for like socks and shoes. And so like just buy just max amounts of socks, and then just get people to donate shoes that they don't sort of want, and just donate it, and then sort of just take it in a box and just drive out to K Road or drive out to wherever they are and just give them out, just socks,
think-
shoes and like packages and stuff like that.
That's for the real ones, eh?
Yeah.
Because not the fake ones at Fresh Choice. And sorry, honest, straight up. Some of honest, you know what, man? You know these ones, like some of them, like I have a lot of empathy for homeless people, and I do. Like I always give, like you know, if they you got $5, silly, but the ones that come, like you know, he's like talking to the other dude. The white guy, and then he comes, sorry, you got $3 to catch. I just needed to catch my bus, and I go, yeah, all good. And then come back the next, sorry, got $3 to catch the bus. Okay, silly. Didn't you catch the bus yesterday?
Or the funniest ones is like when they change their like reasoning. Like you come one day, so I need bus money. This next day, sorry, I need to change. I need some food, and I was like, Sully, you're like in the same
But
spot from yesterday.
That's not.
Change your stations.
That's not judging like
Yeah.
actual homeless, but
Yeah,
because those specific ones we're talking about,
Hustlers.
it's because they all hop in a van and go like it's like a syndicate.
Yeah.
Like they used to do the rounds at Lincoln North as well. They all hop in the car and then they go to another place. I'm like, man,
Go
this
to the
is not
mansion.
fair to the people who actually need. Because
Struggling, eh?
for me, if I have coins, I'll give it no matter what. Even if I gave you $3 the day before, I'll still give it because you might still need it. But I know there's no bus that comes Fresh Choice every 2 hours. So like, when we went, that time we went to get like charcoal from the Fresh Choice, and then we had to come back. And then we had to get because we forgot like ice or something, and we came back and the man asked for $3 for the bus again. So like, the bus should have left ages ago. I already gave you a bus fare, man. Like, that's the fake ones. The real ones, I don't know if you can know the real ones, but that's why you just give it to them anyway. Because
Just give.
I just if I have it, I give it. But like some, I don't know.
Do you know the guys from Fresh Choice? Are they also the ones like at the lights with the?
That's different, I think.
Oh, window washing.
Yeah.
No, window washing.
Oh.
They have the like actual cardboard.
Yeah,
like,
they don't even
you know?
wash your windows anymore.
Yeah,
but
they
that,
wash it. They just let you.
the
read
Fresh Choice ones, there's been a few there. There's like legit, and then there's ones that are working the syndicate, which is the ones that like. I know Camz, you had the mayoral guys on here. You should ask them about what they're gonna do to do the homelessness or whatever, or like somebody should help them to get a job or something like that, or like make homeless people like less not homeless. I know, because it's like I know the ones Junior are talking about, because you do see it like.
I know Eric can confirm the van because I think
Yeah.
van drops one off at
Oh, yeah,
Eric's
see?
work.
Who knows?
Eric sees the van, pick them up, drop them off.
Oh, Sully. Not these ones.
See, man, I wonder who.
Cooking.
Yeah. These guys must make a killing though.
Nah.
Because I've bought like a pie for them. Like, I've spent heaps of money on them, but
Is it just the west area or?
Oh, these are the
We don't
ones I
judge.
knew, yeah. But these are the ones that we know of. Like I've seen, and like if Eric can confirm, then he knows too. But what I was saying was like in Henderson now, if you drive through Henderson, like on our way home, when we drive through, like half the storefronts has got someone sleeping in front of it. Like it's When I think back to when I was a kid or when I was younger and we would drive home, there would be no one.
Oh no.
So like, there's a big homeless problem. I don't know how to tackle it. I'm just talking for the the actors in front of First Jose. Like somebody's got to sort them out.
The Grammy Award, bro.
Yeah, and the ones that get angry when you don't give them anything.
Solid. That's the ones that
that-
crack me up, eh?
I'm like, bro, you're lucky you don't get $5 and 5 goodies in your head, man. Like that lady's trying to give you. But these are not the
Yeah.
syndicate. I guess that's what we're naming them now. The syndicate. The syndicate of actors, man.
Oh.
I saw one guy give someone a sandwich,
Yeah.
and he didn't want it. He wanted money. He wanted money instead. He said, "No.
That cracks me
I'll
up,
get
bro.
some money."
Like, nah, I'm not struggling for food. I'm struggling to get some buds, bro. Oh, yeah.
We're
Not
not
judging.
judging homeless people. Like we're not judging them, okay?
Don't cancel us.
Yeah, no, but
No, yeah.
it's just the syndicate that we're
You're right though. There was a time when you never saw any of that.
Yeah.
And you were asking for money on the street and stuff. You never saw that. I think that happened when John Key became pro. Started to happen after.
Does he own an island? I think there's an island.
It's, Jacinda. Nah, you ever mentioned Jacinda down here? Oh man,
Conspiracy.
I've seen people defend Jacinda.
Sorry, like
She's married to them, and then I've seen people go after her like she's the one that stole their. I was like, man, do you think New Zealand politics is the last thing we need? Is
Hard.
that sense of tribalism that
Yeah.
Americans have? But
Hard
that's the way they're going. That's the way they're going. I don't talk politics in here. I reckon they're all shit anyway. All of them. Straight up.
First of all, I saw him do a post on Facebook, on his Facebook page. And man, the amount of comments that come through after the post, all the haters and that. But man, the man's answering all of them. I was thinking, why would you want to do that?
That's
You can't change any of their minds, man.
at least he's
on it,
answering
yeah.
them. But I think people have already made up their mind. If you're going on Facebook to answer with somebody that you don't, I think you've already made up your mind. I don't understand. I think New Zealand, I hope we don't get to that point that everything is about the politics. Like, I really like watching the American elections. I like the coverage, and I like watching people's kind of like viewpoints in that. I can't understand. I don't understand how they put that much hope in the government. Like the people who love Trump. Like, for me, I'm not a Trump supporter, but he was entertaining. Like as a thing, and I can see why people were like gravitating towards him because he's a showman. He gets the people, like you said, tribalism. He gets them rocked up. He was hitting all the right points for all the right people, but I was like, I don't want to see that in New Zealand. That's one thing I don't want. I want the sports Americanized, but I don't want our politics to hit the same way. I don't know enough about it to know if we.
I don't think New Zealand has a history of someone coming out of the blue way. It's permanent.
Yeah.
You know, like at least they all come up through politics anyway.
Or even someone like rocking the system like he did. So like the man nearly got cancelled 5 times, and he If you ever known any other president, he said he'll grab her by the what, and they got him on. They were like, "Yes, we got him, and then he goes, "We got this. I'm the president," and I was going, this guy he's onto something, but he was like, because then people who are against Trump, they would be like, say, he's a misogynist and he's a racist and he was this. I was like, bro.
You gotta go out of your way now to look at USA politics, because Joe Biden is boring, man.
Yeah,
nothing's happening over there, man. Like when Trump was there, you didn't have to worry. Just turn on TV and something's there,
Yeah.
or listen to
Social
turn on the radio, social media feeds. It was everywhere.
I think. Do you think New Zealand will have someone like that? What would the New Zealand version of Trump? Who or what?
Like
what
Trumpism.
who? No, like who?
Oh, like
How
in terms of figure.
would a New Zealand Trump rise?
Probably
Brian Tamaki.
Just about to say that, eh?
No, but you see, like Trump, Brian Tamaki could be like Trump, but the only thing about Brian Tamaki is because he's gone too far, like to the church side of things. Trump, he leaned into the church stuff, but then he leaned into the other side as well for the rich
At
guys.
the same time.
So you need to find someone who gets Tamaki on board and then can get the national Luxon on board as well, eh? It's I reckon it would be a like if there was someone who was like an actor, like to just try and act like, make up a Trump like run, but they're playing the character. I reckon it would be a good experiment to see if someone could do something like that.
Oh, who's in politics that's a celebrity?
Yeah.
Or dabbling in that? The only guy I think about is Mike King.
Yeah, but Mike King's he's been painted on the mental health brush, like he was big on Jacinda for that. So I don't think he leans too far right enough, eh? Politics talk. I don't give a shit. I just wait for who I think is gonna be the best party for the country at the time. I don't like I don't vote the same way every time. I always thought that was the best way to do it.
That is, yeah.
How about you, Junior? Because you got a business, and would you be looking at policies that suit your business now?
Yeah, like
Like
I think I
importing
should.
and export stuff? And
Yeah. Especially that stuff, like that's important. I think that businesses need to look at. I need to look at it a bit more. I'm sort of like however I feel on the day, I'll just go and vote. But it is because I just feel, in all honesty, like I feel in terms of during the campaigns and stuff like that, they just say things that entice, or they say things that sound nice, and then when the pushing, sort of comes, just like, oh, nothing sort of happened, and you're just like left like everyone that, don't want to get boxes, but and then you're just left there looking like an idiot that voted for a certain party, and then it didn't, sort of, it was just empty promises and all that sort of stuff. So I think it is something to look into there. I need to look into it a bit more, but I just think sometimes it's just empty promises.
because I assume since you got a business, you'll be leaning more national.
Yeah.
Because that's the way they are. They support business and all that.
Rather than
That is national, eh? Like they try and support. They're more about economics. Labour is as opposed to
for the peeps.
Labour is good for me if you work in social sector. This means there's always funding for us. But I guess there'll always be funding for me because ram rates are on the rise. So there's always gonna be young offenders. We'll just wait till they ram raid a Holy Feet store. Eh? If you get a store and then they ram raid it, I'll be out there the next day, security for free every night. That's one of my dreams, eh? Like, I want to be in the mall when I see one of these ram raiders going. Just like I always think, I don't know. If I saw a ram raider, I'll probably just try to stop one of them.
And then just.
But everyone else
sit
is
on
just
them.
on their phones, eh? But I don't want to be like those heroes, like this. Selena was there, I'll just spin kick one and then I'll power bomb the other two. I always think like, if I was there, I think I would try and stop one, because it's just hammers.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's because I know that they're kids, like
Yeah.
you know. I always want to clothesline a kid my whole life. I was kidding. Don't fight me. Can I see my camera? No, but I'm just saying. Like I always thought, if I saw one of these Ram Raiders, I'd try and stop one, because you'd see if the other ones would stop paying. They probably wouldn't.
The social media, that's the biggest factor for that happening. Eh?
For Ram Raids.
Ram raids, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
the kids have seen it and they can
Yeah.
do better.
Yeah, you know what? In my experience, like the kids, we've had Ram Raids for years, like, but they're different. They were different before, man. Like they would just, like Eric would know, they would Ram Raid BPs and petrol stations. So they would just to get the ciggies, or like they'll Ram Raid liquor stores to get the liquor. But now, like, you just search up one, and there's YouTube footage of these, like, so, like, for background, I work with young people, and, like, you know how keen they are to show me of their Ram Raids on YouTube? I've seen them all, and they'll show me, and I go, like, the whole time, I'm like, Solly, this is what you're doing? He goes, you just end up here, but they'll show me them, yeah, this is me and my bro, and it's they'll play a clip, the song's playing, and it's them running into a jewelry store, first person, like, but you know, it's 1,000 views or whatever. They're happy as to see them on there. And the other thing they do is like, they go, did you see me on the news? I done this and this. So like the media's, like the more they report on it, the kind of more that the more
Hypes them up to do.
they think it's like notoriety. I'm sure the police would be happy if they just didn't, I don't know, they'll probably, if they reported less on it. I understand why they do it, is because it's like they have to, it's news. But like the more they report on it, the more these guys like feel cool. The other thing is like they don't get as much, I don't know if they're not hard enough on them or what, but they need to figure out a way. I'm not an expert, I just deal with them by like a way to get the kids away from, like, because they think they can just get away with it, you know. People think like if the best way to sort the Ram Raider is just give them a fucking good hiding and that's it, and that will sort them out. But if you, like, I honestly believe the way to stop it is change the environment they're in, like they come from. If you saw some of the stories that these young Ram Raiders have come from, they're on a hiding to nothing, man. Like the other day I had like a cop in with us, like a policeman, and he was talking to one of our young people, and he was like, "Oh, how's your mum? And how's your mum?" And the boy was like, "Oh, she's in jail. She should be out this time. How's your uncle? Oh, he's still inside." And like, cause he grew up around that, it's hard for him to get out from that. So imagine, like, I don't know what the answer is, but if there was, and I'm not a bleeding heart liberal, that the kids are faultless, because at some point they are kind of at fault too, but a lot of these kids are on a hiding to nothing when they come and say, I mean, I don't know how to solve Ram Raids, but it's got to come from all the way around, bro. Just like, you know, like creating a better environment for them and coming down hard when they do.
I wonder if that's part of that. You know, there's cases of those crimes. There was that kid that raped those 4 girls, and then there was a guy that assaulted someone else, and all they got was home D, and it just angered everyone in the public. But isn't that like trying to alternative solution to the problem?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like when I think about like punishments on crime, I don't know what the solution is. Like I don't think I know enough about, like, my solution to crimes is fuck, you just need a good hiding. Like, you know, like, because that's what I've known. Like, that's all it's not the right one, but because I know, for me, if I went out there and done a Ram Raid, when the cops brought me home, both my brothers were fussing me. then my mum will fussy me, and my dad, he wouldn't fussy me because he's not he's the stern lecturer. But that's because I knew those were the natural consequences of my action. I think because they're kind of missing that for young people, they miss that natural consequence, and then they miss the consequence from the state as well. And like there's that thing about the guy, the rapist, he got home D. I think they just that I don't understand why they weren't hard on that. Like I don't know, man. I do think they should be tough on crime, but I don't. You know what, rapists? For me, rapists, they just get like, you just put a bullet in their mate. Like, pedophiles and that. That's my solution, is just chuck them in a pool and like let them go out to the ocean. But I think tough on crime. But at the same time, I don't know, man. Do you think that did you see what the reasoning behind why they just get away with it?
I think what you're talking about and what the main thing is the environment, but it's also poverty as a whole. You attack poverty, and how do you do that? Well, the government's getting criticism for not putting more money in education and health. Because you fix education and health, then that's a big part of fixing poverty. Because it bleeds into poverty. Yeah. When you talk about when you hear the government and everybody else talk about climate change, like climate change is the last thing on your mind if you're poor.
Yeah, I don't.
They try to push climate change and emissions and all that, and man, when you can't even feed your family, that's the last thing you're gonna do is save gas, or walk, or go on your bike to
rubbish.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
They just trying to.
No one wants to think about that when you're poor. So, if they really want to do something, if you really want to attack climate change, you do something about the poor people first.
Yeah, put the money into them.
Yeah.
I thought Jacinda was gonna do that, and it's not an anti-Jacinda thing because if National was in, they're gonna do fuck all for the nothing for the nothing for the poor people. Like, that's all right.
But then Labour's not doing anything for the poor people either, and that's the problem. I mean, Labour's supposed to be doing that. That's what their identity is, but they're not even doing that.
How far left are we gonna go? Like, that's why I'll vote for the cowboy, Māori cowboy, bro. I was like, if I was in the I'll vote for Māori cowboy. Gee, because he's the man, Parliament guy over. If you wear a cowboy hat, so I'll vote for you. If Issel wears a cowboy hat, I'll vote for you twice, bro. I'll vote for him anyway. But if he was wearing a cowboy hat, solid. Unless one of his apprentices likes wearing cowboy hat, then I'll vote. I'm all for the cowboy, bro. Māori cowboy.
Sweet. So what's the next on your holy feet? What's the next milestone? Well, I mean, what's the next thing you're gonna do for your socks, man?
It's probably the event I haven't talked about, but an event I wanted to put on early next year for local clothing brands. Sort of like a fashion walk, but with people wearing the local clothing brand clothes and stuff like that throughout the fashion walk, and sort of like a market as well. Like, so people have stores and stuff like that selling their stuff. That's something we're looking to do early next year. But it'll probably be that. I think with people thinking we're just a sock brand, I think it's just expecting just to push out socks, pump out socks. But I think for us, I think for myself, I just want it to be more than just a sock brand, just something a bit more. And I know everyone says that, but just actually actioning it out and doing it is the main, important thing. Yeah.
I think what you're doing is right. I think what you're doing, you're actually creating a brand.
Yeah.
It's not just the sock. It's everything. Your poetry.
Yeah, and I think that's something I learned from other people, other entrepreneurs. They're saying, build your brand.
And you got a story to back it up.
Build your story, build your community, and then the product comes last. Don't ever just go give. it's always like, don't always take. It's give, take, and then that's the product. So I think that's just a sort of, just how I'm going about it. But yeah, just excited to eventually build this out to a point where I don't have to work on 9 to 5 anymore. And I think that's like new territory, like especially for Islander people, like, and that's why I'm excited, like seeing other like small businesses and stuff like that coming now. Like, people that are doing grazing tables, they got there in like PT, like there's different, like you can see like a lot of people now, and I think that's the times that's caused us just to like, we need more money or we need more pocket, and so we'll just putting out small businesses, which is I love to see as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just support your local by supporting your local.
I think Holy Feet will be the principal sponsor of the Hit 'em Up podcast when they return in 2023. We're gonna fire it up when you get the studio going at Starling Stadium. I was thinking I'll bring back your Hit 'em Up NRL 135.
No, because then a whole hour is just going to be based on Penrith Panthers. That's what I'm telling you right now.
Is there a problem with that? Have you ever heard
sabotage at its finest, bro.
Hey, I was already part of the last one.
That was the worst segue.
I'm just saying.
Just straight into
I
Penrith.
reckon, you know what? Camz will bring back next year part of WESWES Network. We'll bring back the 135 Hit 'em Up NRL podcast and sponsored by Holy Feet. And we'll look for another sponsor who will actually pay us. Not like Holy Feet. But what it will double as a live document of a team going 3 in a row for the first time in NRL history. Every week tune in for insight from the camp. I don't know. Nathan Cleary DM'd me once, so what kind of clears there? So
fact check that.
So look for 2023 Holy Feet starting this, and also as the principal sponsor of the returning Hit 'em Up NRL 155 podcast. When we set it up in Starling Stadium, it will be a better setup now with all of Isaiah's stuff. Set it up for Isaiah. The Bulldogs won't be half bad next year, because what did they do? They got half the Panthers players. So that means they should be good for something next year.
Who's going over there? Kiko.
Kika Ridmani and our coach, one of our assistant coaches, Serraldo. But they got Gus, and yeah, we'll talk about that in the inaugural episode of the Hit 'em Up 135 return, sponsored by Holy Feet. You are what you wear. See, so I already got it. And our other sponsor, join us as the Penrith Panthers. Get for free now.
Oh no! Follow the Instagram pages.
Yeah, follow
the Instagram page if you can, if you want. holyfeet.official, and we also got a Holy Feet page on Facebook if you can. Spread the love, much appreciated. Grateful to all the people that supported. Just because I actually don't have a platform to say this. So thank you, Camz.
Can you not buy socks now?
Oh, we're actually sold out. Sorry, I couldn't bring in these as well. Yeah, we're sold out, and that's like gone. We're not bringing that back. So we'll just have to wait till the next drop.
No date yet.
No date yet. TBC.
Just look out for it on social media.
Yeah, look out for it on social media. So Instagram page, follow. That's where we have all our content. And yeah.
The next sock will be Hit 'em Up in our 135. Proudly brought to you by. Look out for that in 2023. 135 Hit 'em Up in our podcast. Proudly brought to you by Holy Feet Official.
Right, that's us.
Let's chop.